Good morning. Seems I have my Secret Service here today.
We're a 24/7 institution.
Good morning, Joe. Thank you for
GM.
showing up so early for you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, technically it's not early for me. It's just late Friday night still.
That's so true. That's so true. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Primo. Good morning, Nudes.
Yo, good morning, everybody. What's going on? Happy Saturday. Good morning to all. Really excited for this Intersect Progress in Community Pulse space. Kicking off the weekend. Going to have a great time. And an amazing list of awesome guests. Laura is in the house, head of community at Intersect. Super stoked to get a little deep dive on Laura's perspective and everything that she's been cooking up in the kitchen, as well as Elle and Pie. It's a rock star Saturday, so I'm very stoked for it. How is everyone else feeling?
Feeling
Doing pretty
good.
well.
Hi, Lara. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning. Good morning. How are you all doing today?
Amazing! It's the weekend. It's crazy times, Laura, and I'm real glad that we have these regular spaces now, just to touch base and check in with everybody, keeping our finger on the pulse of all things rocking. It's just symptomatic of the world of Web3 when it feels like we're flying at a million miles an hour, and always a great thing when you can rest, do a little meditation, and look back on everything that's being built. So really stoked for it, and super glad that you, as well as Elle, Cardano's #1 influencer, joining us today. Very, very stoked for it.
I know. I am so happy that we're gathering here on a different level. So it's so much fun, so much fun. And we have great people here joining us today. Please share out the space. Let's get more people in here today and share some knowledge in a fun way, in an easy way to digest. We have Elle in here this morning. Good morning, Elle. How are you doing?
Good morning to all the nerds and DJs. I'm doing well, thank you very much. How are you?
We are nerds and degens indeed. Thank you for joining us today. We still have Pi who's going to show up later on, trying to make this very inclusive and diverse. So we got Laura and Elle, which last time I think I was in the same space with both of you was like probably some crazy commotion going on. So this is cool that we get to chat and like in a more relaxed environment.
If there was any commotion, it was all Lara's fault.
Oh yeah, because I'm just so, toxic. I'm just so reactive.
Yeah, it could never be mine.
Laura, can you please stop being so controversial? Thank you.
Oh, I think I'm gonna hide myself in my cave.
Oh, yes. I need a cave, not gonna lie. I need a cave where I can hide in, like a little hobbit hole. That's what I need in
Talking
my life.
about hiding, I can't even lie. I'm under the covers at this exact moment. I know you guys wanted me to be a professional, but it's 9 a.m. Come on.
No, we're all here in a capacity of Cardano, you know, holders and community members and, people trying to build one block at a time. So yeah, no, just it's a relaxed environment. We're definitely not keeping this trying to make it inclusive and accessible. We definitely can be tied up, right? Like all
I mean,
tight
I'm
and
I'm
stuff.
embarrassed now because it's 1 p.m. and I'm in bed and I have zero fucking excuses.
Oh wow, you're in bed. Maybe I should just do this from my bed. I'm drinking my coffee, but I'm sitting on my desk. Now you guys are giving me bed FOMO. But let's just get this kicked off. I think that we have enough people in the room, so I can just lay out some, rules and make sure that we're all on the same page. Our community is all about sharing knowledge and experiences in a positive and supportive way. We make sure to give credit where credit is due and respect everyone's privacy. So keep your discussions on topic and relevant and always be kind and respectful. We're here to learn and improve together. So ask questions and offer constructive feedback. Most importantly, have fun. and connect with others as we work together to grow the Cardano ecosystem. So, during the conversations, please be mindful of time, be respectful, use hands, and don't speak on top of each other. Practice active listening, meaning focus on concentration, letting others speak openly without interrupting or shouting unsolicited, and process what is said without being reactive or talking over. And I am going to invite you to join my plain language initiative, which is using plain language in government communications or anything that we're talking here today to make sure that we keep everyone interested and engaged, making everyone feel like they're valued part of the conversation. So let's stay clear, concise, and accessible when we're communicating with others. That's good. You guys
I'm
agree?
gonna I'm gonna find it hard, but I'll do it.
Absolutely agreed.
I want to make L feel valued.
That's the goal. The goal is we're going to make Elle and everybody else in here feel valued. So, with that being said, I think we're missing a co host. Newts, what do you think? Should we like pick somebody here from the room and make a co-host? Not our guest, because our guest should be working. So who can be here and help us? Well, I think you're here, Joe. Are you gonna stick around?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Heck yeah, let's go. Cardano Stoners Club coming in to help us out on the Intersect Progress and Community Pulse space, kicking off the weekend. Super stoked for it. Definitely want our guests just to chill, relax, join in the conversation, give us our perspectives, because we have some amazing and legendary individuals that are joining us today. Two of them both dialing in live from their beds in different time zones, but each with their own set of comforts. None other than Cardano's number one influencer, our great friend L, who is an Intersect member and also the Reflect community manager. Very much stoked to get his perspective on what community engagement means, decentralization, and everything that is happening, popping and rocking here in Web3 and especially on Cardano. And then, of course, Laura, our friend, our head of community at Intersect. Super stoked to be jamming with her today. Also live from the bed. I swear, our third guest, Pi, if he shows up and he's not in his bed, I'm not sure if we can continue, but we're going to need proof of weekend from him. We will see, my friend. I just want to give an extra special thanks to our two guests that have joined us so far. You guys are rock stars, just awesome people. Always such a fun time to be in the space with you, and really cool to cook it up today on some awesome topics. And thanks a lot to everybody else for joining us here in the space. Do retweet the room, rebeat the boop. Shout out to Clay's After Dark. Get some people up in here, kicking off the weekend a little bit early, trying to get those different time zones and engagements into the intersection of thought that we are going to be cooking up today, my friends. It's going to be an awesome one. Real quick before we jump into it, as we did last time, we had posted up a few different polls just to get a little bit of a sense of the community pulse, as it were, with things related to governance. So I have posted those in the comments and pinned them up at the top that you can check out there. Three different topics that we're interested to get the pulse of today. One being the topic of DREPs. Have you considered becoming one and what that might mean for the future? In addition to that, of course, have you read the Cardano interim constitutional draft? We have a great document that's out and about in the world and a lot of different perspectives and thoughts to bring to the table in that regard. And last but not least, a thing that we will talk about and highlight today is these upcoming constitution consultation workshops that are going to be going on all around the world. Be looking forward to that. There was over 90 applicants that came in for this, and these results are going to be announced at the beginning of the month next week. It's coming out which locations will be hosting these events. Very much inspired by how much turnout there was. Best of luck to all the applicants, and hope that if there's one in your region, you'll come hang out and get involved. It's always a great time. So those polls are pinned to the top. You can check them out there, and we're going to keep rocking and rolling all morning long, my friends. Welcome to this Intersect Progress and Community Pulse.
Yes, I was actually answering the polls as you were speaking. So thanks for posting that up. Please, please take a little minute and fill those out and share them. Trying to get some more perspective here. This is going to help us, help Intersect, figure out what we want to focus on next time we have a conversation, and also for Intersect to see, where they should be focusing, making sure that everybody feels included and the things are accessible. So take a couple minutes and answer those questions. And we're going to kick off this with some highlights, and then we're going to jump into conversations. And at any point while we're talking about this, you can pitch in, or if you have anything to say, definitely join in there. I know that Laura, you've been working behind the scenes. Maybe a lot of people don't realize how hard you're working behind all this craziness that we're living in Intersect right now. So you might have things that you want to point out that I did not capture, and my notes right here didn't capture. So yes, keep us on check, if you will. So let's just get started. I don't know where Pi is. He knows he's supposed to be here, but it happens. It's Saturday, so he'll join us, I'm sure. Let's just get to some highlights here, shall we? One of the first things that we have is there is an Intersect biweekly committee report, and I know that we had it there from the Intersect Weekend account. We can repin that up at the top. I know Newts is going to do all this because it's a maestro. Nobody does it as well as he does. So the Intersect Biweekly Community Report gives you an update on regular updates to the Intersect membership on the 7 Intersect steering committees and associated groups. Something that people have been asking for to understand how is that working, who's doing what is the status. So if you want to keep check on trying to figure out what's moving within the Intersect committees and working groups, check out this biweekly committee report, which I think it's a great initiative and transparency and making feel people feel like they know what's going on, because it's been a little bit chaotic trying to build the first blocks of this foundation, and I can see things are starting to show up. Like this newsletter was packed with so much stuff. It's incredible. We had to have a call this morning to figure out what are we going to to highlight, because there's so much to highlight. And the second thing I want to highlight is the Intersect membership page, which is now taking ADA payments. I don't know if any of you tried to sign up for Intersect before and were a little upset because the only option was to pay with a card and fiat. And that is not the case anymore. Now we have ADA Pay. Thank you to the ADA Anvil team for making that happen. Wallets are supported, or Big and Wallet, Eternal, Flint, Giro, Lace, Nami, Typhoon, Vesper, and Yoroi, which is a pretty big selection in my opinion. And I think it happened a lot earlier than they thought it was going to happen. What do you think about that, Nudes?
I'm stoked for it. I know that Elle, you had been in the comments about this, and Rick has also expressed similar sentiments with things like the Cardano Summit, for us to put ourselves forward as this financial solution for the future, and yet we don't ourselves accept the financial solutions that we're pushing forward, seems to be a little bit egregious. And I'm super glad that they fast track this. I think people like Elle in the comments and Rick and others just really just highlighting this glaring issue, I think, helped to fast track it. So shout out to everybody that expressed their sentiments in that regard, and super glad that we can finally pay an ADA. What a concept. I'm stoked for it.
What a concept. That's so true. What a concept. Well, there you go, guys. Now you can pay with ADA and you can be part of Intersect, and check out the options there. It's there's a free option to become a member, so you don't have to pay for the free option, and you can access Discord and get into the conversation and get the newsletters and stuff like that, attend the town halls. But if you want to participate a little further, maybe be part of like some um the groups, the interest groups, the special interest groups, or if you want to apply for grants and vote, then you have to be on the next level of membership, which right now is at $10 a year, which is not that bad in my opinion. But you know, it's I understand. You might want to try the free version and see what's going on and then upgrade to the next one. So check that out. Now you can pay with ADA. So all DJs out there that have been making a killer lately, then you can use some of that to be part of Intersect without having to incur a taxable event, turning your ADA into fiat for then spending it later on. So go for it. Thank you, Anvil, for making this happen for us. Now, I do want to say for those who are members of Intersect, which I might ask, Elle, are you a member of Intersect?
As of right now, I was an associate because, like I said, and apologies to Lara because I know she wanted to kill me first, but I said I was protesting until they allow me to pay an ADA. And I've literally, as we're speaking now, because I didn't know they'd done it yet, I've just sent the transaction to become a member. But for me, like News is saying, I think it's like it was like trying to make somebody drink a glass of wine but you wouldn't drink it. You know what I mean? It's like, are this guy gonna fucking poison me or something? So, but at least we're there now. And I just had my membership. Shout out to Intersect. I'm part of the team.
I thought you
Yes.
was gonna get whacked.
Hey, talk about getting whacked. Did you
It's like,
register to
come down this,
become
you should come down this dark alley with me, but I'm gonna wait years. So if you just carry on walking down, that would be great.
my, I have Secret Service now. Big Joe, did you register? Did you sign up to become a member? I know I've been begging you to.
I didn't. I haven't yet, but I
Oh, guess
am.
what? Now you have ADA and you have a way to pay with ADA. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm happy about that because it's like Ada, we're the future. Oh, cool. I'll buy into that. Okay, $10. So yeah.
I totally
It's,
get it. What's up, Lara?
it's real good though. Like that was real smooth. Sorry, Lara.
No problem. I want to highlight and actually congratulate the dev team at Intersect and Anvil for pushing this forward because some people might not know, but of course, right, the USD, the fiat payments came first, and this caused a lot of commotion. But I want to clarify the situation that we did not rule out having ADA at any time. We were just having a few issues with how we would put this to the website. And what I want to congratulate on the dev team is as soon as the commotion started, every single person sat down, regardless of their time zones, regardless if it was working hours or not. Everyone sat down and said, "Hey, we need a plan to push this forward as soon as possible and as fast as possible, because we cannot leave the community hanging." And it's incredible to see how quickly they shaped this up together. Once again, thank you for Anvil for helping us in this process. It was amazing to see it come to fruition. And yeah, regarding to knowing if it was available already or not, we are most likely releasing the news today through the Intersect official profile. We also had a few important things to post about yesterday, and that includes posting about it on Discord as well.
To be fair, it wasn't a newsletter. So if you are getting those newsletters, you get the scoop. And that's why we get a lot of the stuff here. And it was highlighted at the beginning. ADA Pay is here because we're all stoked for it. You, Rick, there's a lot of people. I myself, I am a member because at the beginning, if you join early, you didn't have to pay. So we have this initial no pay membership that expires at the end of July, and we have to pay from this point forward. So I'm still as a member, but I haven't paid my dues. So now I was also waiting for it. So I'm super stoked that I get to use my ADA to pay for that. So bravo to everybody putting their hands together. And what people don't realize that this is what's going on in Intersect, right? There's a need, and there's we identify a need, and there's identify who can make it happen and find a way to make it happen, because that's the whole point of what we're doing here. So sometimes things are might be a little bit, weird at first, but as we work together, we make things better. And as we're building this foundation, as a community, because you'll come to realize so much of this is coming from community members that are pitching in to work with Intersect staff combined to make something happen. And you'll see it flourish, and as you see it flourish and you start hearing everybody being proud of those collaborations, you start realizing, oh wow, this is really a community effort. It's not just Intersect doing stuff. But I think maybe we come from the older days that we've been constantly having to ask IOG and tagging IOG and waiting for CF and whatever make this happen for us. Now this is where we make it happen for ourselves. So it could be a little bit convoluted at first, and I think everybody for putting their hands together and picking up shovels and building what we need here today. So shout out to everyone for that. We do have a member survey, and I don't know, Laura, that is part of the newsletter, and I wasn't sure if we could link that publicly as a form for members to please help the Intersect team understand what your thoughts are. And I didn't want to put it publicly because it's part of the newsletter, but I did want to highlight and make sure that people knew there is a member survey. I have the link. If we can post it, we'll post it up. But I didn't want to do that. So please
Yeah,
check
as
out.
far as I know, this link is for members of Intersect only. And as Jenny highlighted a while ago, you can become a member of Intersect at the moment and not pay currently. So you can become a member. You can also fill in the form. I'm not. You just won't receive the most recent dev report, right? The newsletter on your email because it was sent yesterday. However, you are able to access it if I'm not mistaken. If you cannot and you are a member of Intersect, I can verify that and get the link for you to fill in.
Also,
Sounds good.
if you're enterprise like the Cardano Stoners Club, it's only $1,000.
Is that option open for people to pay? Because last time I checked, it was like kind of
Enterprise
rented
is
out.
not open yet, as far as I'm
If
aware.
you're thinking into the future like the Stoners Club, save your $1,000.
Yes, for anybody that, I think that's going to be the price. It's just not open yet. And then they also have a bespoke option for more a la carte. So check that out. But for now, let's just focus on the individual ones and check that out as well. So what else do we have here, Primo? Any
Yeah,
other
we got
highlights? We
yeah
have so
tons of
many.
there's honestly tons of stuff, and we got to be respectful of our amazing guests for joining us, but we do want to just touch point on a few different things. One is that SanchoNet is rocking, and we have the resident king of SanchoNet, Big Joe the Don, being our community co-host of the day. Very awesome to see. If you've not yet checked out Sancho, this is where you can basically get involved and play around with what the future of governance is going to be like. I would be remiss if I did not mention Mike Hornan over at AblePool. He does some amazing workshops that you can check out, and I will put that in the comments as well. If you want to get a tutorial and just see what it's like, this suite of tools, the Gov tool that's available on Sancho, is one where you can go in, test out, you could submit a governance action, and it's all using test ADA. So you're not using any mainnet ADA. It doesn't cost you anything. There's a faucet for those things, and you just basically request. They'll send you 10K if you want 10K T ADA. You can definitely do that, and then you can submit governance proposals for anything, just for fun. Like if you want to buy Ellen Island, you could submit that. If we want to buy Laura a new Lamborghini, we could definitely get down. And I don't. Elle gave me the thumbs down. Maybe we have to go with Elle Island over here. Um, but it would be the number one proposal on the Sancho testnet for our number one influencer of Cardano. So check it out there. SanchoGov.tools is the link. And you can see there's a great graphic that was put out with a lot of the different activity that's been going on. Over 10,000 governance actions have been submitted. So real exciting times if you want to go check it out and play around. And again, Mike Hornan from AblePool, one of the great veterans of SanchoNet. He's been just in the trenches testing it out and getting down to play around and trying to break it, honestly, to see all the different possibilities for things coming forward. In addition to that, there are a number of community hubs that were highlighted in our newsletter, which was awesome to see. And I'm pinning the screenshots of the newsletter at the top, but perhaps more importantly are the links to their Twitter accounts. Many of them are very new. They don't yet have a lot of followers. So check them out there. We have three of them highlighted from Sri Lanka, Japan, and the LATAM community as well. Their handles are in that tweet. So give them a follow to keep pace on all the things that they're cooking, because they are not only representing Intersect around the world, but hosting up a number of different events that are going on with these live talk meetups. They have different town halls happening all around the world. So definitely do not miss those accounts. Very important to add to your follows on your account. And then last but not least, my friends, I want to give a big shout out to our friends over there at the Swarm, the Catalyst Swarm, who has hosted up a great Intersect June Town Hall. And so I'm pinning that up as well. There's a YouTube link there, and definitely check it out if you were not able to attend. You can look back and check it on YouTube, and you'll notice in that screenshot there's the Intersect YouTube page, which only has 45 subscribers. There are maybe more than 45 people in this room, so everybody should subscribe to the Intersect YouTube channel if you've not yet also done so. Great resource and destination for keeping pace on all things cooking here in this age of Voltaire. So yeah, we have tons of different stuff to talk about, but we do have some guests, my friends,
I
and I'm
do
super
have a
stoked.
couple of things that I forgot that is very this in particular is super important, and I don't want to forget Nudes. And that I told you early, this is the first thing I was going to highlight, and I can't believe I
I
didn't.
know what's coming.
It's the Intersect Constitutional Council. That is cooking right now. So Intersect, I'm pretty sure if you've been around, you've been hearing all the ICC talk. We just had the elections happening for the interim constitutional committee, and we had the result, and we have our three community seats that were definitely elected individuals, well, groups actually. There's three groups, consortiums that were appointed to this. I am part of one of those, so thank you very much for that. But Intersect gets a seat at the table as well. And what they've decided to do is they're going to get 10 Intersect members to manage that seat. So they have, let me see, do we have that posted or should I post this? We should
For
have it from the
the
Intersect
yeah, the
account.
Yep. So I just pinned up two more Intersect tweets real quick. I know we're looking forward to, hopefully Pi will still be joining us, because we're going to talk about the ICC vote results, which are posted on the Intersect account. So that's the second pinned tweet, and the first one there now at the top is, if you would like to get involved in the Constitutional Committee as part of the group of people who will represent the Intersect vote in that Council of Seven, there'll be a number of people getting involved there, and the application is open only until July 1st. So this is probably the most time sensitive statement of the day, because there are merely hours left. So if you're still curious, want to get involved in joining up with the Intersect seat, the link is pinned up there at the top. You can check it out and keep things rocking and rolling. July 1st is the deadline. But our community co-host, Big Joe the Don, has the hand about passing to him before we get into our guests.
Yeah, just two things real quick. One, I really hope Pi shows up. I had some technical questions for him. Also, two, um, and the whole time that you guys just talked about what you talked about, which was a few minutes, I became an Intersect member and I paid with Ada, and yeah, it's over now. I'm in, baby.
Onboarding. This is right. I love it. We got Elle, we got Joe. You hear that, guys? You can't miss out. This is the time for you to go and join as well. Join the party.
And let me
I
just say,
love to hear that.
it
Love,
was
love, love to hear
easy.
that.
It was so easy, Laura. Um, if I
Did it
could
make
do
you
it,
feel like you were buying an NFT?
yeah, it was fun. Um, but if I could do it on a Friday night slash Saturday morning, off of no sleep, it's 5:30 a.m. right now in LA. Then anyone could do it. So yeah, do it.
Awesome. And I have a question for you, Laura. Once you submit that application and you pay, how does it work? How long does it take for you to be an official member?
I believe it's not that long. When you get the membership, you should, in a couple of minutes, receive an email with further information and a few links for you to access, including joining the Discord server. So it should be quite fast.
So you're telling me that if somebody's here today and feels empowered to maybe join that ICC and apply, they can join today and then fill out that application?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, good that you mentioned that. The ICC applications, the Constitutional Council, they are going to be open until July 1st, so until Monday.
There you go, guys. So, hey, L, if you want to consider it, there you go. Same with you,
If you want
Joe.
to do it now.
You have until the first to decide if you want to be part of the what some people here will call in the cabal. There you go. Go for it. I will say join us. We have cookies and good stuff in there. So, shout out to you guys for joining Intersect here with us today. And hopefully, some of the people in the room feel inspired by that. We have some Constitution workshops happening this weekend. So, let's send some good vibes to the teams. There's three that I know of. They're happening this weekend, and there are more to come. And no, not the Constitution workshops. I'm sorry, the DRET workshops. I got that messed up. The Constitution workshops are coming, and I believe the final list of who's going to be hosting those comes out on July 3rd. So look out for that next week. We're going to find out who is going to be hosting these constitutional consultation workshops where we as a community get to discuss the draft interim constitution and make some changes and submit them. What's going on next? Trent Labs, good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, we could hear you
Oh,
and
thank you
someone
very
in the
much.
background as well.
I'm sorry about that. I appreciate the fact that this is happening right now. That I can pay my membership with it. And of course, I love the fact that it's really happening now. The question I want to ask is, Lara, can somebody that have applied to be evaluating the ICC can revoke the application and join uh, the race to be elected as part of the team member?
I don't understand your question. Could you repeat that, please? You're kind of cutting off
Okay,
for
what
me.
I mean is that there is an application for people that will be evaluating the interim constitution council for Intersect. So, peradventure, someone has submitted an application for that before, due to the fact that what has yet to become a member to apply to be part of the council. So, eventually, either I can be able to pay my membership now that I want to join the race with other people that have applied. Can I revoke my application to be an evaluator and I enter the race to join the contest?
I believe you could. We need to talk to the people responsible for that to, I believe, remove your application. This would need, we have a lot of time constraint though because it's a weekend and it's going to be hard since the ICC applications finish on Monday, July 1st. I am definitely, as first thing in the morning, I'm going to talk to the person responsible for those and I'm going to talk and mention your situation, mention that you would like to revoke and then apply to the ICC so we can do this as fast as possible.
No, no, actually, I'm not saying that I want to revoke. I'm asking if it is possible, if anybody wants to do.
Just wants to know if it's possible for other people. That's not what you're
Yeah,
trying to
I
do.
believe it's possible.
Okay, okay. I'm not revoking my application to be an evaluator. I'm just asking if it is possible if someone wants to do.
Since you are
All right.
mentioning
Thank you very
evaluators,
much.
I also want to highlight that being an evaluator is just as important as being part of the ICC. Some people, I've seen some comments undermining the position of evaluators, but guys, evaluators ensure that everything is going the way it should. And being part of the community and being an evaluator is just as important as being part of the Constitutional Council itself.
Yeah, and that's pinned up at the top if you want to check it out for the reviewing panel. You're going to check out all of the different applicants and try and determine who would be the best fit to join up with the Intersect ICC to serve on the ICC. We got a little bit of redundancy in these acronyms, but hey, my friends, this is the Intersect Constitutional Council fulfilling the role on the Interim Constitutional Committee. So those links and resources are pinned at the top if you want to check them out. Big shout out to Next Trend. That was a great question in terms of involvement and engagement for people. Definitely working everybody on the weekend to try and get things going. And the time is ticking, my friends. Monday is when it closes, July 1st. So do not sleep on it. Check it out. Links at the top if you want to get involved.
Let's do a little house cleaning, Nudes. Let's share out the space, guys. Retweet the room. Look at the
Repeat the room.
comments. Look at the comments. What else we have there cooking Nudes that we want to mid roll it with?
Yeah, tons of stuff to check out. As I mentioned at the beginning, we have some polls going on just to get our finger on the community pulse of different topics that are rocking and rolling right now. Those are all the way back, the very first pinned tweets for the space in terms of your perspective on participating in Constitution consultation workshops, as well as the interim Cardano Constitution draft itself. And then finally, have you considered becoming a DREP? And these are some great things, important topics moving forward to the age of Voltaire, specifically with the topic of DREPs being one that you could easily get involved and try it out on SanchoNet. As we mentioned before, you can check out the Gov tool. Things are rocking and rolling over there in Sancho. We got the king of SanchoNet over here, Big Joe the Don, and our friend Mike Hornan. I pinned up one of his tweets as well. Check out his workshops if you are just curious and you want to just get a firsthand view of what it's like. You can use that to get involved and see what it's like to go through this governance tool and governance process, submit a governance action. Again, we're going to submit one to buy an island for L, maybe a Lamborghini for Laura, not really sure. Maybe we can get a chateau for S20 down there. Big shout out to the Calm Down crew. Lots of different great things that you can do to get involved, and lots of other resources for people to check out. Indeed, the results of the Interim Constitutional Committee are live, and then opportunities for you to get involved in the Intersect seat. So we have tons of great things, an amazing collection of guests here, my friends, Elle and Laura joining us here. Two different individuals, two different legends with awesome perspectives on all things cooking. Very stoked to welcome them to this Progress and Community Pulse space of the weekend, kicking it off proper on a Saturday, my friends.
There you go. So yes, I sent a message to Pi. We talked last night. It's so weird that he probably, like after talking to Laura and Elle, I'm thinking he probably was in bed too and just the bed won. So that's my guess, but who knows? So we're just gonna get the conversation going. If he shows up, he'll join us. But I want to get it started, which I want to talk to Lara for a minute here because you've been head of community of Intersect, and a lot of people here in the community know you from before. And I know you're famously part of the task team, but you've actually been here from before then too. You were here from before the task team, and that means that you have been around for quite some time. So thank you so much for putting your name in the hat for this head of community Intersect role. And I would like to know about your role at Intersect and how are you helping shape the way things work over there? Because I know that you came in and you started putting order in that Discord, and I love it. And there's so much more that you're doing that I would like for you to share with us.
Oh wow, that's a deep question. And one, to be fair, I love to answer. My position at Intersect is more so I like to use a simple sentence to define what I do, which is providing the community what the community needs and wants. So let's say people really want to use a certain tool. This is just, I'm not undermining myself, I promise. People want to use a tool to support themselves better, support working groups, support special interest groups to achieve their work and their plans a little bit better. That's one of the things I also do. But talking about the intersect side of things, the team itself, my position in there is to be able to create what I like to call a human sensor network. So we are going to feel how the community is feeling, kind of redundant there, but we're going to feel how the community is feeling around intersect, around governance, around transparency, and I am going to help ensure that all of those processes are in place, that people do get the transparency they need, that the people do get the governance they need. And this is done by helping both the community and the team achieve their goals.
Sweet. And you're doing a great job at that, Laura, and I appreciate what you do. Were you familiar with Lara working there and doing all this awesome work in Intersect?
Well, she told me when she got the job, so I was real happy for her. Whether she'll do anything is another. No, I'm just kidding. I think if we had to put our faith in anybody, it's not a bad person to put it in. She's been here for a while. Cardano Warriors, Taz, she's been here, man, a long time and worked her ass off. Had some difficult communities to deal with as well. So she definitely knows how to get through that.
She's got the tough skin needed for the job for sure. And the reason why I ask is because I've come across a lot of people that weren't, they had no idea. So when I mentioned, no, the Lara, it's like, Lara? You mean Lara? It's like, yeah, she's an intersect. And people are like, what? No way. I haven't seen her. And that's what it is. And so it's just really cool. I wanted to know and see if you were familiar with the fact that she was there. And I want to know, Lara, what initially drew you to Cardano and what continues to keep you engaged?
Oh, now you've opened the door that I can talk nonstop for days. My my trajectory with Cardano actually starts with my trajectory in crypto. I first joined Bitcoin because of a friend's birthday party, a surprise birthday party, and so I wouldn't be left out on the topics. I learned a little bit about what Bitcoin was, and my first blockchain right after Bitcoin was Cardano. And what really drew me in here was the possibility of achieving real governance on chain and providing people with solutions that they could use correctly and properly in their day-to-day lives. And of course, being in blockchain is being about innovation too. It's seeing a world grow right in front of your eyes and participating in its growth. But there's one thing I really want to mention that when I joined Cardano and I saw everything that was going around here, I I started I started reading about Cardano. I started learning about the blockchain, the technology, even though I didn't know much of it. And at the time, I was a med student, and I loved Cardano so much. And some people might not know this, that I changed careers because of it. I dropped out of med school and I got into computer science. So I can say that Cardano really helped shape my future, quite literally. And I am here because I absolutely adore what Cardano is building. And this relates to Intersect too, because having the chance of seeing governance be structured and built in front of my eyes and helping shape it, was one of my first, I can say, dreams when getting into Cardano. It's one of my dreams come true, to be fair.
I love that. What tools or tricks helped you the most for grasping blockchain and decentralized governance concepts and things like that?
Honestly, I can say that when I joined, I mean, crypto is a lot more, I can say, distributed worldwide now. And when I joined, I was only supported by YouTube channels, videos, articles in different languages that I had to use Google Translate to understand. So I was really in the trenches learning about Cardano, learning about governance, understanding what Charles was talking about, reading whiteboard videos. So I went in there, I went deep to learn everything about governance and what was being built in here. But
Mm.
now at Intersect, we have incredible tools that we can help people get information from. So we have newsletters, we have our knowledge base, which is it's quite long. So bear with us on that. I'm trying to make it very consumable to everyone, but it's amazing to see the how big of a development it is from when I joined and started consuming content about Cardano and about governance and where we are now, and how easy it is to find information. So yeah, I'm really proud to see how this came to be.
I relate so much with that. There's something I love to say that is the fact that we tell people do your own research, and sometimes it's like, but where do I do my research? Like I was like you, like trying to find as much as I could, trying to digest this information, and it was everywhere, right? And I do agree with this knowledge base. I mean, it is a lot, but I'd rather be a lot than nothing, So right now it could be overwhelming, but there's just nothing better than being able to just type in something and find some answers, and in one place that you can say this is legit, this is not like somebody sending me somewhere, which is one of my worries, because I've been doing Cardano over coffee for so long and talking to so many people, and there's just information that's out there, but we're constantly having to send people everywhere to get info that's legitimate, that you make sure that you're not sending people to get the wrong information. So that knowledge base for me is gold. And thank you for whatever you're doing to make it easier for others to understand it and be able to get all the info they want and go at their own pace, right? Because it's a lot to digest. And I'm like you, I will like grab those videos for Charles, stop, research, come back, listen to it again, rewatch, and until I finally understood every single thing that's being said. And but not everybody wants to go through all of that. So it's great that there's a little path in there in between. What's up, Lara?
Yeah, you mentioned something quite important in my eyes, which is it's a lot of information, and not everyone has I'm going to say that not everyone has the time to consume that information, and those are the people that I really want to reach. Not everyone has enough time on their hands to be able to read throughout our entire knowledge base, and that's okay. But they still want to be part of Intersect. They still want to be part of, Cardano governance. And I'd really like to draw them in. So working in working with all of the teams, right? Because I cannot just update the knowledge base by myself. There's important information from other teams that are vital that stay there. So working with them to ensure that little bits and pieces of information from the knowledge base get to more accessible platforms for people to consume Intersect content and to consume Cardano governance content is one of my main goals here. Um, just reshaping how the Discord server is structured at the moment is part of that. It's part of that idea because we don't want confusion. We want to help people access the information as easily as they can. And that includes transforming our platforms into something easily accessible and easy to read, easy to navigate, right?
I love it. And I love how you do keep this in mind all the time, which is giving credit where credit is due, because it's super, super important that we highlight and we put, everybody out there that's working together and making things happen. It's super, super important. Sometimes we try our best to highlight what some people are doing, and we forget to highlight others. And Lara, you are doing a great job. I've been noticing that every time you speak about something, you try to bring at the forefront everybody else is working behind the scenes to make something happen. And I've part of the rules here in the space that I like to put out there as rules. They're not hard to follow. They're just like things to keep in mind. And I took them from Intersect's, code of conduct because it's part of kind of like the idea that we need to build this together. And even though we take credit for the things that we do and not undermine ourselves, we also want to make sure that everybody that's putting something at the table that's working, it's giving the recognition for the things that they do. So thank you, Lara, for that. I have one more question for you, and thank you, Pi, for showing up. I think we were just saying we thought that the bed won, and that you were still in bed, and I see that you're here with us. Welcome.
Yeah, I just woke up. Apologies for that. Thanks for having me.
Of course. No, no. Ella's in bed, Lara's in bed. You just woke up. This sounds like a good Saturday to me. I have one more question, and we'll get back to you for sure, Laura. We're gonna have some more questions here that are like more open to everybody and not so directed. But I do want to ask you, as a community manager in Intersect, what has been your toughest hurdle as and your most satisfying moment so far since you've been in this role?
Oh, yeah, I got two great ones. I can say my toughest hurdle, and I believe it's going to be my toughest hurdle for a long time. We work with a very, very diverse community, people from all over the world, all genders, all ages, and ensuring I'm going to start from ground zero, right? And planning our structure around them, trying to accommodate all of those people, all of those identities, all of those individuals together is really challenging because we want to create somewhere safe for everyone to voice their opinions. And eh, talking about people that speak different languages, that have different culture, have different beliefs, it's always a challenge to, bring them home. But yeah, this is one of my toughest hurdles at the moment. But this is one of the things I'm working the most in, because accommodating people is ensuring that they get heard, that their opinions can be frequently voiced out loud, and that we listen to them and that we address their concerns. But this is happening, and it's happening now. It's going to continue to happen in the future of Intersect and Cardano, because Cardano wouldn't exist without all of its users. So we have to create that warm environment for them to participate. And now, I wouldn't say, well, just clarifying, I wouldn't say this is something negative, okay? Because welcoming everyone is really, really great because we can all learn from it at all times.
It's a hurdle, but it doesn't
Exactly.
make it
It's a hurdle,
exactly.
but it's
Yes.
not negative at all. It's not negative. And seeing how the Intersect team deals with that process too is amazing, because as a team, we are very diverse. We're people from all over the world, from multiple nationalities. We speak multiple languages, and it's it's actually quite funny seeing everyone work together and seeing their minds work as a group. It's incredible seeing the plans go from the paper to real life. It's amazing. And now, for one of my biggest wins, I can definitely say that the interim constitutional committee applicants Twitter spaces that we had a while ago, 2 weeks ago. Oh, that was amazing. It was super long. I loved listening to all of the applicants speak, answer questions. I've loved having Charles on stage. And that was a huge win, because people might not realize, but if you go to our Intersect profile and you scroll down, you're going to be able to see that we had over 8,000 listeners live and asynchronously. So we reached a plethora of people, many people listening, many people voting. That was amazing. That was a big win, in my opinion.
It was. What a moment in history. And you were part of it. And thank you, Lara, so much for answering all these questions. I want to go to Elle. Elle, my friend, are you still with us?
I'm here. I'm always here.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
I'm making sure the pillow didn't take you away for a ride.
I
So
was actually watching Game of Thrones. Like I wasn't sleeping. Don't worry.
you were not paying attention to Laura.
No, no, I was listening to her.
I'm
I
gonna
meant
quiz you. I'm gonna
that's why I'm
quiz
still
you.
in bed. That's why I'm still in bed. I was watching Game of Thrones. That's why.
All right. Just checking. So L, you have well, first of all, you are the Cardano #1 influencer. We know that, but I have to say it for title purposes, you know. And you're also an Intersect member now, which is bravo. Yes, I didn't have that on my list, but you're also Reflex community manager, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to talk a lot about gaming. So I want you, if you don't mind, to share a little bit about your journey in Web3 and how did you become a community manager for Reflect?
Oh God, have we got all day? Um,
No,
uh,
let's be concise. Let's keep
I
it short.
well,
No,
you
just
want my entire journey in Web three? I mean, I bought Safe Moon. I got rugged. I said,
oh,
"Oh, you
you did Safe Moon. Yes.
we don't need to go into detail about that." But I bought Safe Moon. I was like, "Oh, Safe Moon. They put it on NYC. That'll be a good trade." Idiot. And I was like, "Okay, yeah, this shit is bad. I need to buy smart people things." So I went on the internet and I was like, "Top 5 crypto layer ones," because I finally figured out what a layer one meant. And then they were like, buy ETH, buy Bitcoin, buy all this stuff. I was like, I didn't understand when I first got into crypto. I didn't understand like satoshis and stuff. So I was like, well, if I buy 100 Bitcoin, how does that work? Because it's 69,000 ADA, $69,000. You know what I mean? So I had no idea what I was doing. And then I went to Ethereum for like a few months, and I just kept bankrupting myself on gas fees because the GUI was like through the roof when I initially got in. I think it was 2019 or 2020. I can't remember, but around that time. And then I just started watching All in Crypto and like Army of Spies and those guys, and I was like, you know what, this Cardano thing makes sense. So I just bought it. I just took out. I just had my student loan actually, and I just put the entire thing into Cardano. Whether that was a good choice, I mean, we'll come back to talk about that another time. But I did it, and I've been here ever since. You know, buying NFTs and stuff, and uh, then I was like, okay, I need to come into spaces. The first space I went to was like an ADAX space when they first started. And if you guys remember, like they were doing an order book uh, decks back in the day. Didn't really turn out too well. I don't know where those guys are now. Wish them well. But then I did that. I had a free NFT from those guys because they were like, you ask great questions. We'll give you a free NFT. And I was like, okay, that must be a sign. So started doing spaces. Mr. Joe went into his spaces and the
Hey,
watering
don't
hole.
forget the watering hole, my
Yeah,
friend.
that's what I was about to say. You know, the stoners and the watering hole, and I think that was pretty much it back in the day. Like when we first started, it was pretty much
Go fast
Epoch
forward.
and
Okay, go
sorry.
fast forward. You need to
Wait
finish
there,
quick.
Big Ram. Big Ram, wait there. Let me talk a minute. I'm telling them my life story, Big Ram. We'll go to you next. Jesus Christ.
It's
Um.
boring.
Yeah. Well, nobody asked for your opinion on it. Uh, So yeah, I think that was right. There was like Stoners Club,
I'm
Watering
sorry
Hole.
about that, El. I mean,
No, it's fine. I fucking love Big Ram. I don't care if he
I,
bullies me. He's the only
no,
person.
I mean, I just remove him for now, but I'll bring it back up just because I want to respect the time with
No, I
you. So
appreciate it.
thanks.
I appreciate that. Yo, Big Ram, I'm gonna get you later, you son of a bitch. Um, yeah, I mean, we had the Stoners Club, Epoch's End, and the Watering Hole, and that was pretty much it, right? If I remember correctly. And Shepard at the time, he was like, "This crazy British guy, we need to get him here every day." So they were like, "Oh, come be part of
But
this
you
camp."
were a whale from Wales. I will never
Yeah,
forget that.
I can't remember what was the joke. I can't remember the
Well, we
joke.
have the poppity ping. We talked about the poppity ping like 1,000 times, and like we're trying to well, the whale from Wales. Where did it start? I'm trying to
That's what he'd
remember.
say. He'd say,
Yeah,
you whales from." Oh, I can't remember something about gills or something. It was hilarious though. But that's followed me for a long time. Um, and then after that, I guess I just started doing my own. Just started doing my own space, and some people like listening to me for some reason. I think they might be sadists or whatever the word is. I think they like to be shouted at, and they deserve it. So that's good. Um, and then I just did that for like 2 years straight and tweeted every day and participated in everything I possibly could. And here I am. Me and Josh from Reflect ended up having a good good relationship. Shout out to Josh. He gets a lot of hate sometimes, but he's a great guy. And I said to them, I think you need to speak to somebody that's actually in touch every day, and they give me the opportunity, and I've been there for more so over a year now. And I'll be at Revo on the booth, doing my little, oh, you haven't here to reflect, come speak to us. I'll be doing all that stuff because I enjoy it. And hopefully, it continues. Yeah, and that's kind of how we are, where we are today.
So, decentralization in Web3, that's something that I don't hear much talk about that. And I would like to hear your thoughts about, do you believe decentralization is crucial for the future of gaming? Do you think it plays a big role?
Gaming, that's a great question.
Game, yeah, and gaming.
That's a really good question, actually, in regards to the game. I think on a secondary market level, I think that I don't necessarily think that it's important or crucial, but I think that it is deserved. And what I mean by that is that if you've bought an asset, you should be able to leverage that asset in any way that you desire, whether that's selling it on a secondary market or just keeping it to yourself or sending it to your friends or doing whatever you like. And in the current landscape of gaming, you buy an asset and that asset is stuck to your inventory, whether it's on a console or if you're leveraging something like Steam OS or Epic or whatever, um, and that value is stuck. So in regards to decentralization being crucial, I don't know if it is crucial, but I think that it's more so something that people deserve. I don't even think they realize really that they deserve it, but I think they do. And one second. Oh, excuse me. Of course, I bloody sneezed halfway through a monologue. Um, I think realistically, gaming has been something that has been stuck in regards to asset value inside a lot of ecosystems, rather than allowing people to have that inherent value from themselves. And I think decentralization is a huge step of giving back people the control and valuation of their assets.
And what about you as L, the number one influencer? Do you think decentralization is something vital and crucial for our future?
I mean, of course, I wouldn't have bought Cardano if I thought decentralization didn't mean anything. I would have just bought Solana or something and then been a node operator with all the other four people in one room. I think to get respect in regards of like TradFi and also to create an ecosystem and financial instrument that is valued across the board, regardless of nation origin, blah blah blah. Decentralization is the predominant factor of that. Obviously, scalability, blah blah blah, throughput, all that stuff. You want your transactions to be fast and you want the fees to be low, and everybody's happy. But if it just falls back into the same scenario that we're in now, where you have exceedingly wealthy people that control everything, then it just means nothing. After 50 years of bare minimum decentralization, it becomes worthless. But if we can have decentralization in the visionary that Cardano has set, then I believe in it wholeheartedly.
And you mentioned, which I do agree with that. You mentioned that some people don't realize like what they want this, right? And my question to you, from your perspective, how can how can we like how can we broader our efforts and advocate better for decentralization and governance values to a broader audience, like you said, gamers that might not know that they can benefit from a decentralized way of doing things, or a little bit more towards that mindset and way of thinking. How do you think that this message can be passed on to those who you just mentioned sometimes don't realize that will probably want?
I think for me, decentralization, we spend a lot of time talking about how do we tell others about decentralization and why should they care. We shouldn't have to tell them, and we shouldn't have to force them to care. We impose it. And what I mean by that is when you create products and tools that have really good UI and user experience, and they don't really have any intuition or blatant, like, this is decentralized,
people just use it and they don't care and they don't realize, and then they go, oh wait, I can actually get my value for my assets. I can do whatever I want. I can trade however I want, and I can spend my money however I like. I think the best way to implicate decentralization is to impose it. And if people enjoy the experience, then they'll continue to prosper off that. Rather than telling them why they should care, you force them to realize that it's a much better aspiration to have, and provides a lot more benefits.
So basically build the tools, build the things, and but then we'll need a liaison, right? Somebody that can actually pass on what people want to those building the tools, and then have that get the tools get passed on
No,
to, how do you do it?
I would disagree. I would disagree, and I apologize for
No,
cutting you off
no,
because I know
no. Go
you're going to
for
be
it.
able to.
I
But
just want to know how
I,
you
I think
envision it. That's what we want.
for me, it's a product of market, right? So if people use something and it succeeds in the market, then other people notice that. When let's say, and I hope to God, and not just for myself or reflect, but for people on, other ecosystems, building kind of gaming platforms or whatever that kind of prescribes to a similar mantra. But when you provide a product that allows people to have their value, allows people to do whatever they like, and allows people to get their money back, and then put it into something else from these, collectibles and NFTs and whatever you want to call them, if that outcompetes the market, it's not something where you have to tell them why that works. You know what I mean? They go, oh, well, it's a trustless process. People get a valuation for their assets. The reason it's working, it becomes blatant. And the market doesn't lie. Numbers don't lie. People do. So if you impose it, you're wasting your time, because realistically, showing people that a product is better and that beating the market is going to do 10 times more than just forcing people to understand something that they never cared to understand.
Love it, Elle. I do. And I just want to ask you one more thing before we move into pie, and then, we'll circle back in some little conversations before we leave today. So, I want to know, as a number one influencer, looking back, what has been the most rewarding aspect of influencing the Cardano community?
Oof. That's a loaded question. What has been? Say it again. Say it again.
Well, what has been the most rewarding aspect of being an influencer for the community? Because you have been an influencer for the community. I just want to know what has been the most rewarding aspect of this whole role that you have been playing here in the community, which is pretty.
You know what? I think. I think. I think real life events. I mean, obviously, for me, like personally, when I got the job with Reflect, that was probably one of my most rewarding, like as an individual. But in regards of like influence, I think real life events, like the Vegas situation with the party. I think like when we were able to put that on, and shout out to Lara as well, because she was a huge participant in that. Being able to bring people that I've spoke to online into, the VIP, and giving them a ticket to CTS though, and getting them free drinks and seeing everybody happy. I think, and like putting out tweets like, if you're at an event and you don't know anybody and you feel kind of like a bozo and you're lost, just hit me up. We can come. I'll have a drink with you. I don't care. I think for me the most rewarding, like, it's, don't get me wrong, it's great. Oh, I got 100 likes on my tweet. Look at me, I'm cool. It doesn't feel bad, obviously, but when you're like at a real life event and people come up to you and they're like, "Oh, well, I saw your tweet online. Thank you for saying that. Do you mind if I hang out with you, or do you mind if we do this, or could you introduce me to somebody?" It's like I've really been here so long that I can introduce anybody to anybody now, and it's like really rewarding to be able to make things like that happen for others, and just make the community more humbling and positive.
I love that, Elle. I do. And I just want to say, I'm sorry I got a little like over time, but I wasn't sure that Pi was going to come at the end of the day. So I extended my questions with Lara, and I had to like give the same amount of time to Elle. So but we've restructured. We have time here. So Pi, how are you today, my friend? Thank you for coming.
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, how are not gonna have you on? You have so much input for us. Seriously. For those who don't know who Pi is, he's a CTO of Sunday Labs. He's also an Intersect member. And I don't know if I can say this, but it's in your bio. It says that you're also Adam Dean certified shitty dev. I don't know.
I actually found out the other day that I'm not an Intersect member. Something went funky with my application. It never landed with the right people, so I'll be correcting that this coming week.
Well, let me
Uh,
tell you something.
You can pay later.
Exactly. Tell them, Nudes.
Yeah, Pi, we were just cooking it up before. A bunch of great resources at the top, but the 8 payments for Intersect membership are live, my friend. So you can use those little lovelaces and join the party today. Very easy to do. In fact, during this space, both Elle and Big Joe from the Stoners Club were able to do this. It's 5:30. It was 5:30 a.m. LA local time, and if Big Joe the Don can take care of it at 5:30, you could do it too, my friend. So just wanted to get that word out, and thanks again, man, for joining us. I'm real excited to have you cooking it up in the on this awesome Saturday with us, especially just like what a crazy historic week. I mean, I know, and I also too highlighted in the Epoch Send NFT yesterday about a lot of different things cooking up at Sunday Labs, but in the midst of that, with all those burners in your kitchen, you played a really instrumental role in this historic vote going on, man. So real glad to have you join us.
yeah, glad to be here. It was definitely a very, very interesting week. Probably one of the craziest that I've had in a long while.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think just for anybody who's a regular, everyday participant in the community, just trying to keep track of everything that's going on, resources and all things. Again, shout out to Laura with the knowledge base up there, also pinned at the top. Great resource to find the pulse of everything in a single point. But man, just from the observer's point of view, it's been a whirlwind of things. I can't even imagine what it's looking like on your end from, again, all of the different stuff Sunday Labs is cooking up, and then you playing a real instrumental role, especially in this vote that people were expecting on a day, and then the announcement comes out, hey guys, we're going to hold off for a little while we do this review, and it comes out that you're the one reviewing it, which I also pinned up your tweet, and you shared your code for reviewing it. So I'm real stoked to get a background on your perspective on what it was like to go through that, man. What a piece of history.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously really, really good or really cool, and a very deep honor for me to have to be asked to do that. This is, something that an idea that we've had for our governance system, where the results can be audited by other independent parties, and so it was cool to be on the kind of the other side of that table with Summon, and I think Summon is really great and have built a really great platform. And so Intersect and them reached out to me about a week or so before the vote, asking if I'd be willing to do that. And really, I think that came down to the fact that ultimately I chose not to apply as a candidate myself. I just have too much on my plate. I could not add another responsibility to it. So that put me in this very kind of neutral role where I think they felt like I was respected within the community and also was not a candidate myself. So I would be kind of the perfect person to perform this audit. I think there were two other people who did an audit, Andrew Westberg and somebody over at Cerberus. So I think, shout out to them for doing the same. And then, so my plan was to have the code written. So I wanted to rewrite the validation code kind of in a clean room. So I didn't see any of their logic for implementing it. I just went off of the descriptions that I found on the Intersect website for how to implement it, and off the raw data. And I think that was really important, because if I re-implemented all of that and arrived at the exact same numbers they did without having seen the results, I think it added a lot of weight and a lot of integrity. And at the end of the day, if I'm going to put my name to something, if I'm going to say I'm an independent auditor, I want to know deep down in my core that I did every step to ensure that that was actually the case. Not that I actually suspected that there would be any foul play in this. I think Intersect and everybody involved is really upstanding, but I think it's just really important to kind of encase this vote in an ironclad layer of authenticity. That being said, then the day came for the vote, and I got the data set and I started implementing it, and I got maybe like 10, 15 minutes into implementing it, and all hell broke loose with the so-called DDoS attack, and I got pulled into a bunch of meetings to help strategize how to deal with that and what the appropriate response was. And obviously, that was a bit more time pressing than the vote. And so by the time I was done with all of that, it was kind of late into the evening, and so we weren't able to release the votes that day. I did finish the code that night. I stayed up a little bit late working on it and submitted them my results, but I think it was like 4 a.m. for the Intersect members by that time, so they just posted the results the next day. So
I love it, man. I'm really grateful to have that perspective. And I can only imagine, like, that is one of those extra whirlwind things that it's like, how can you expect a DDoS attack to just launch up and now you have yet another thing on your plate? And I was real glad the way I have to give you your flowers, and I have a lot of respect for you just as a communicator. Like, you're always one of the most level-headed perspectives in the room when there's whatever the latest flare up is it might be. You can always rely on Pi to at least come in and add some measure of balance to the conversation and bring in some important perspectives, man. And that's exactly what you did for this vote itself with your perspective in your eyes. You were really transparent in terms of, like, the code, for example, that you published on GitHub. That's also pinned at the top. But I think my favorite breakdown here was the one I just pinned at the very top, where you corroborate the results, right, and reaffirm their validity. And then you give a great breakdown in that thread of some of the shortcomings and different anomalies, or at least points of interest that you took into this data set. And we're real transparent about that. This is the only source of assessment I've seen through the whole process where you really pinpointed some of the things that were interesting to you and then explained precisely how you dealt with them, man. So just absolutely outstanding job there. Not sure if you wanted to. I mean, you already spoke on some of the challenges that you had, not only with the timing and the resources available, but with the data set itself, man. I mean, a lot of interesting things coming out there, and I think you tackled them really well.
yeah, absolutely. And I emphasized this in my Twitter thread, and nobody's kind of taken my those anomalies in kind of a bad way and tried to undercut the election. But I'll just emphasize it again. None of those come even close to having an impact on the outcome in my eyes, and they all have like really well understood causes for them. Different wallets implement the SIP8 standard in either different or incorrect ways, and there's not much that the Summon platform can do about that. The timing thing is like a very common bug that software developers will rely on the browser for the timestamp, and none of it changed the ordering of anybody's votes or anything like that. So really, the reason I was presenting that was not because there was any problem with the vote, but I just wanted to give people like a tangible sense for how thorough I was, because I feel like that adds to the legitimacy of the election. I was kind of digging into like the real nuance of it and really thinking through, almost like I was auditing a set of smart contracts and digging through how this vote was calculated and how the data set was presented. And there were a few odd things that I found, and so I tried to present those kind of in that spirit. Hopefully people found it interesting, yeah.
I mean, the things that you found and focused on in this data set are so great because I can only imagine the ways that if people had, like, pointed these things out sort of after the fact and didn't have a clear, level-headed sort of expose of what they are and how to interpret them, it could have gotten a lot more dramatic mileage. For example, if you check out the thread, it's again the pinned one at the top, and Pi does a great breakdown of just like highlighting some of these anomalies. For example, like some votes came in before the link was posted for people to vote, right? And I'm sure that if that somebody had noticed that after the fact, it would be one of the, well, how did insiders know and all these things? And it's quite simple. It's quite simply much more banal, and it's just the devs testing the platform. as well as time discrepancies between time zones and different things like that, man. So again, really awesome breakdown here that you've got going on, highlighting these different points of interest and how specifically interpreted them. I think you did a great service to the community, and just wanted to thank you for that, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Really, really well done. Absolutely, man. Well, I do have a number of other questions with respect to this and kind of governance at large, but we do have one of our great backend developers, Big Joe the Don, with a hand up. Not sure if he wants to get into the technical weeds with you.
Sure.
Yeah, before we get into the deep technical stuff, first, Pi, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'm the official founder of the Cardano Secret Service, and being that you were the auditor of the election, you fall under my jurisdiction. So I gotta ask you, did any of the candidates try to bribe you or threaten you in any way?
No.
Thank you.
There we go. Our resident Secret Service doing their part to keep things safe and in line with respect to Cardano. I love to see it. Again, if people are really interested in the technical mechanics of how Pi did this assessment, the GitHub from the Sunday Labs has been posted there in the second tweet if you want to go in and read the technical details. And really glad too, in a classically, I think, Pi approach here, you added some code comments to help explain what's going on so that it's just not out there like the raw data trying to speak for itself. There's some great context and guidance to help contextualize and explain those things for
Yeah,
everybody, man. So just really, really well done.
for anybody
Yeah,
who's
go
not
for
a
it.
programmer, right? Like if you want to try to read that, I know that code can sometimes be intimidating, but if you just went and read every line that started with 2 slashes on GitHub, it will like render that line in a different color. They kind of are just an English description of what the code is doing. So if you want to be involved in this process, you want to have a deeper insight, but you're not a programmer, that would even though the code part of it might look intimidating, I tried to make the comments, which are lines of text that are ignored by the computer, give a really good description of the kinds of things that I was checking for. I checked that no votes occurred after the end of the vote, for example, and I checked that the user's voting power matched the stake snapshot that I downloaded from the Cardano node. And so if you want to read through the code, that can be a really good way to give yourself some confidence, even if you can't read the code itself.
Yeah, man, that type of contextualization and just scaffolding of information, as in the world of education and like language instruction, we call it scaffolding, right? How do you scaffold information and make sure that it's clear? It's such a great gesture to the observer, to the reader, and goes back to things that we mentioned from our conversation with Laura and Elle that we've been having in the space, right? We were talking about, well, everybody says do your own research. Where do you begin? And you just get hit with this code. I don't even know how to read this stuff. And we were talking with Elle about decentralization. It's like, yeah, you tout it to everybody, but then there's no like tangible next steps for people to take, and stuff like this directly addresses that. And what's great in that assessment that you did, you not only provided these resources, but then you confirmed yourself in a transaction that I now pinned up at the top. If people want to check it out, you put it in the metadata there. I thought that was a real creative way just to reaffirm the validity of your assessments and let people know that this is precisely how you arrived at it, man. So just stellar job there. Really, really
Yeah, and
great contribution.
that was like kind of largely just a little bit of like ceremonial flair. I wanted a way. At first, I was going to take, my tweets and sign them with my public key, but I figured, people aren't going to know how to validate, a signature from a public key and all that. And I was like, oh, why don't I just put it in the metadata, and then anybody can go and look and see, oh, this is from the Pi ADA handle, and know that either me or somebody who accessed my private keys, and I usually, you can probably presume that I keep my private keys pretty secure, was the one that published this data. So, right now, I don't think we're at a point where this has gotten enough attention that auditors are at risk of being hacked and subverting the results of the election, right? Like, if you think about the realistic likelihood of any of these things, it's very, very low. But that extra ceremony and that extra precedent for future elections, even, well, future ones will be entirely on chain, but I'm sure we'll have governance that happens within the space, maybe not at the protocol level, but just for smaller things. I'm trying to just set that precedent of like, here are the tools that we can use when this does start becoming a much bigger deal, right? When there are maybe state actors who would try to, get to me, so to speak. So it was more ceremonial than like, it accomplished anything concrete, but it was like a fun, cute way to put my specific stamp on it.
Yeah, man, it's leading by example, most definitely, and a great precedent to be set for all future adventures that we will have in this age of Voltaire. And it's a great way to think through some of the other things we were curious to get your perspective on, specifically on Cardano, just in general. Like, is there any comments or perspectives that you might bring about how, like, the technology of Cardano, right, specifically is something that is like can be optimally used for security and transparency of electoral processes, you know what I mean? And upholding the integrity of decentralized governance.
Sorry, what was the question?
So how these tools for Cardano, how do you think that they can be optimized, or how do you think that this ecosystem itself, like from a maybe a tech standpoint or even a community standpoint, how do you think that we can, or how do you think that this technology is best fit to ensure the integrity and security of things like decentralized governance, elections, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I think two kind of discoveries or realizations out of this that I'm going to go, chase down is one. Um, it was a little awkward having um, the signature payload be a different format depending on which wallet it came from. Without getting too technical, there's basically each wallet is doing things in a slightly different way, which made like parsing it difficult. So I'm probably going to follow up and figure out which wallets are producing a different inconsistent payload, and then you know ask them what's up and try to get everybody following the same standard. I think that would be a really
Like a
great.
standardization, right? That sounds
Yeah,
like
and,
an
and look, it is a
opportunity for that.
defined standard, and it seems like just a few wallets kind of forgot one piece of that standard. So that's a great outcome of this. The other thing is, looking at how Summon DAO's platform works. It works very similar to the Sunday governance portal that we've built. So I'd love to work with them to kind of evolve our payloads, our voting formats, so that they're interoperable. Because I think it would be really, really cool one day to run a vote and you can vote from either the Sunday platform or the Summon platform and have all of those votes aggregated up together. And I'm sure there are other voting platforms out there that we could look to standardize with, but I just think it would be really cool to kind of move towards a federated model for like really big votes, and that gives kind of more confidence in these kind of semi off-chain vote formats, where you don't necessarily have to trust Summon as much anymore or Sunday as much anymore, because if you distrust one of us, you can just go vote with the other one or with any of the other platforms that co-evolve. So definitely going to be starting discussions with them on, with everything else on my plate. Maybe we won't get to it for a while, but in the long term, it would be really cool to kind of converge on these cooperating platforms that can interoperate easily. I think that'd be really cool.
I think that would be amazing, man. And just one last follow up question in that regard, and then we're gonna tie it back together with all of these three amazing guests that we have joining us today on this awesome Saturday. Do you think that this type of standardization could help us get to kind of the instant results that everybody sort of like envisions in this romantic view of decentralized governance on chain, right? People are like why aren't the results instant kind of thing? It seems to me like standardization approaches that you just outlined for us could help us get closer to that kind of idealized goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like in this kind of right now, the reason that votes are, you know, take a while is because we explicitly, Summon Platform and Sunday Labs explicitly want a human in the loop so we can check things over, right? So we can audit things. After we've done a number of these and we can start to, for example, build the system so that it immediately releases the result payload when the vote is over, and anybody can run that audit. And we can also work to automate it as we have higher confidence in the system. The worst thing that could happen right now is we run a vote like this, and this is, to take a small diversion, this vote is probably pretty unique in Cardano's history. By the time we have another vote that is of this magnitude, we'll be using SIP 1694, which is all on chain and all instant already. So this is a bit unique, but there will be other votes that that aren't fully on chain, right? Because a fully on chain vote is a pretty laborious, expensive process if you think of the ecosystem as a whole. And so the platforms that Summon and Sunday have built are about, okay, for smaller impact decisions, what options do we have, right? And so getting a little bit back on track, as we automate that, those results can become a lot more instant. I think just today, the reason they're not is because we explicitly want to make sure we're reviewing them, because the worst thing that could happen is the automated process has a bug, publishes out the results, and then it creates unneeded drama, right? It upsets people and they think that the integrity is undermined and things like that, right? So I think we're definitely evolving towards that, but it's a very intentional decision to avoid mistakes right now, of keeping that human in the loop who can do sanity checks, right? A computer is still ultimately tallying it, but a human is in the loop so that they can, this person got 40 billion votes. That doesn't make any sense, right? Like, because there's not 40 billion ADA that participated, right? We can do those kinds of sanity checks and see if there are bugs in the software beforehand. And then, going one step further to this like federated world I was envisioning and outlining, then you can have a system where these platforms are also auditing each other's results in real time, because they are, because it's a standardized format. So, the idea here would be, if we design a system where you have these kind of federated administrators, and then they publish their result sets, then the other federated administrators can download those result sets, combine them with their own, and audit the other platform and report any anomalies and all of that. So hopefully that answered your question.
Absolutely, man. I think that's amazing, and just one of those reminders that just like there's always people involved in these processes. People tend to have the ideological assumption that code is law and it's just some amorphous source of truth, but it's important to have these different validity checks on the entirety of it, man. And I think that as things evolve, it will become more refined and efficient in terms of moving things more fully on chain with the Age of Voltaire and SIP 1694. But my friend, I needed to thank you again for joining us. Such an awesome perspective. What a whirlwind historic week for Cardano in so many respects, in terms of, I mean, Catalyst is off to the races. The ICC vote is going on. We had the DDoS attack. So many things. Sunday Labs in their own right, cooking so many things up in the kitchen, man. So very much appreciative of your contributions and the perspectives that you share with us today. And as we wind into the rest of our space, we wanted to get a little conversational experience with all three of our guests on some generalized topics with respect to governance and Cardano. And it's been such an awesome time with us, but I'm going to pass it back to our host with the most, Jenny, from the Intersect account and segue us into our little segment here.
But not without reminding people that we have a poll. We have 3 questions up there, pinned up at the top during the.
The results are in.
Oh, they're
We had
in.
the results. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we had yeah, maybe we should have did it longer. I mean, our space is going longer than
Okay, let's
anticipated,
just do
so
that.
next
Why don't you
time.
read the results? Let's read the results. Let's go to that.
Absolutely. Yeah, just quick at the beginning of the space we posted up 3 different polls for people just to get a little finger on the pulse for community sentiments, perspectives, and engagements, my friends. And so one of them being, would you like to participate in a constitution consultation workshop? As mentioned earlier, we had over 90 applicants to host these upcoming workshops in the second half of the year. And these are going to be deep dive experiences and opportunities to get together with members of the community, check out the Constitution for its shortcomings and for its strengths, and really try to refine this document into one that we could all reach some sort of consensus and agreement to ratify it by the start of the new year. And so we had one of those, would you like to participate in a workshop? Overwhelming majority of our 10 participants, thank you all, saying yes, they would love to in person, and also as well, some people would like to do virtual. So keep that in mind as the workshops are announced and are made available. They will be happening all around the globe in person at 50 different locations, but there will also be a number of other virtual opportunities to get involved. If you cannot get down to your local governance workshop, you can definitely do so from the comfort of your own home. In addition to that, we also asked our friends here, have you read the interim Cardano Constitution draft? That is available through the Intersect website, and we'll pin up to the top in just a moment so you can get a sense of it. Majority of respondents here have said they have read it, where the others were not yet. So it seems like most people have got a chance to check this thing out, and it is extensive indeed, very much packed with information in terms of the ethos of the ecosystem, and very importantly, some guardrails and definitions for how the ecosystem will operate, especially during this interim phase, so that we don't run into another DDoS attack or whatever it might
And
be.
it's a little dense to
So
read, so I can understand if you feel a
yes,
little bit intimidated. We even hosted Corona Stories Club hosted a couple days of readings of the interim the draft of the interim constitution, and we had some people pitching in and having questions. So digesting this is in pieces with your friends is probably the best way to do it. And you can always pull in people that understand some of these things better to help clarify things. We have Pi here has been amazing. He's always there like when you need him to help you understand things. You have Johnny, you have Mike, you have a lot of people that you can pull in these conversations and try to digest it and make it, easier to understand. So thanks for that, Notes. And what's the third one?
absolutely. Just want to reaffirm that, again, from the education perspective, learning in chunks is a great approach to any content knowledge that you're trying to master. You don't sit down with a scientific textbook or try and read Physics 101 all in one clip. You want to break it up into digestible little portions, little morsels, little appetizers that you can get your head around and then move on to the next. And this document, taking that approach to it, is a real great way. So shout out to Big Joe the Don for hosting a back-to-back 2-day event, reading the entire document from start to finish, and then having time in the space for everybody to clarify those things. I think is a great thing, and looking forward to continuing that theme as we move forward throughout the year. And this last little poll is: have you considered becoming a D rep? And the majority of respondents said that yes, they have considered it. Some said no. Some said they're not sure what a D rep does. And this is a great opportunity to remind everyone about the DREP platform is one where you can register yourself as a DREP in the ecosystem. I believe it's a 500 ADA deposit to do so. And then from there, you can participate with different votes and different governance actions. And if you want to see exactly what that looks like, SanchoNet is your friend, your destination to do so. That is also pinned up at the top if you want to get your head around what being a DREP is like. There are ways to do so from your own device on the Gov tool from SanchoNet. You can also check out Mike Hornan from AblePool, his workshops does a lot of great demonstrations for people to see exactly what the process is like, where you can get involved, submit a governance action, vote on something, and get your toes wet in the sea of Voltaire that we are all swimming into this summer, my friends. Definitely check that out. And if you have an opportunity, there's some DREP workshops. Shout out to our friend Adam Rush is hosting one today in Chicago. Big shout out to him. Hoping it's a great success. A lot of additional opportunities for people to get together and speak through the motions of the process of being a DREP, and then also two more philosophical perspectives on what should a DREP be, and how should they act in this ecosystem. So yeah, lots of great things going on there. Definitely check them out, and thanks a lot everybody for getting into the polls. We didn't know that the space would run a little bit longer, but hey, that's okay. Next time we'll keep the polls extended a little bit further as we are cooking it up in this kitchen for Intersect Progress and the community pulse. But Jenny is yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we're still trying to figure this one out. I mean, whether it's 90 minutes, a couple hours, we've been trying to pack it into 90 minutes. We have not made it yet, but it's because the conversations are great and we get carried away with all the awesomeness that's cooking in this kitchen. So thank you so much, News, for bringing that up. And I just I pinned up at the top, I do have I'm doing a DRIP workshop with Hosky in Espanol. So if you know anybody that speaks Spanish that might want to learn how to become a DREP, please share that with them. We're trying to make this accessible. There's so many other people out there trying to make this, turn this programs into all kinds of languages, and it's huge effort from community members behind the scenes, and we just want to roll everybody in so that it doesn't become behind the scenes becomes the forefront of Cardano. We're doing a lot of things behind the scenes, and eventually we just want this behind the scenes to be completely out there and for people to not feel like it's behind the scenes. So that's why we want to keep telling people join Intersect and come join us and see what's cooking. And I know, Laura, you have your hand up, so I'm going to pass it up to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Good thing that you mentioned the DREP workshops. I actually want to remind everyone that us at Intersect, we're going to keep reminding everyone each month about the upcoming DREP workshops that are going to happen during that month. And in June, still, we have one today, actually. We're going to have three workshops. One today hosted by Adam Rush from someone in person in Chicago, Illinois. It's going to handle all modules, and of course, its main language is going to be English. And tomorrow, June 30th, we're going to have two different workshops, one in person in Vietnam that is also going to handle all modules. Language is going to be Vietnamese. And we're going to have a virtual workshop in the India time zone, which is going to handle modules 1 and 2 as a recap. And it's going to go over the modules 3 and 4 completely. It's going to be hosted by Rash. All of the information for those workshops are in our knowledge base, but if you want to access the Discord server, one of our most recent announcements is about these workshops. Once again, every month we're going to keep reminding people of the workshops that are going to happen during that period. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to message me.
Thank you so much, Laura. And there's so many dates coming up to keep an eye on. We have the Constitution Workshop announcements coming up on July 5th, and that's going to be a whole bunch of other workshops are going to be added to this calendar. So make sure to keep an eye on that calendar. Laura is putting stuff up there all the time. I don't know who's doing it, but I know that you're reminding people. So shout out to you for trying to keep all this in one place and reminding everybody about these workshops. There might be other ones. Check out the knowledge base. I know that you can find them there as well. And I do have somebody else with a hand up before we go into a couple questions that I want to throw out there.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you very much for this section. And it's really inspiring and insightful. I really appreciate joining this section. And of course, I actually want to take the advantage to say next trend lab team, as we know that Catalyst 14 is on, we kind of put some proposals on the IRI scale then we want to solicit the support of every member here to assist us in expanding the reach of Cardano ecosystem across African continent. So we put in proposals whereby we want to leverage on the potential of influencers, taking the potential of TikTok applications for now. And I'll be reaching out in person to, particularly to L, to bring some advantage of his experience as an influencer for Cardano to see how far we can go beyond that. So our venture, we believe that if we achieve that very particular objectives, a community member to next trend community will eventually be a community member to Intersect. So we appreciate the fact that we are growing like this. Then we solicit your support as an individual, as an entity, to consider putting our proposals. Just type next trend labs on the voting app and it will pop up. So thank you very much, and I appreciate the call.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Definitely check out those catalyst proposals if you want. And I hope next trend you will continue to get involved with these DREP workshops and constitutional workshops going on. The perspectives from Africa are so
Yeah,
crucial
yeah, yeah.
for everything, man. So
We will
yeah,
be hosting one. We will be hosting on the Jura program. We'll be hosting on by next month. Hopefully, the second week of the next month. We are hoping to host a Durep pioneer program. So hopefully we in person. So we want to do more to contribute more to the entire community and the intersect. So thank you very much.
Welcome to
yeah, man. Thank you.
Africa,
Thank
Shakira,
you.
Shakira.
That's our resident co-host for today. Uh, Thank you, Big Joe, for volunteering for this role. Well, every space will have a resident co-host to help us here run things. So thank you so much for that. And I am going to ask you guys, according to this poll, which I know that not that many people participated. Hopefully, we get more people to participate in the polls. It only takes a minute, but it's still good to get the conversation started. So, something that we do want to achieve is more participation in elections that we have moving forward. We're going to be going through this a lot. You know, we have had catalyst on the side that is kind of happening in parallel with everything else. It's some people join and participate, but now this is kind of like a little bigger because it comprises everything that happens in Cardano, and we're going to be involved in a lot of proposing and voting, and we want to achieve more participation. There's two things in here that I want to unpack. One is the D-reps. I've asked L, I don't know if he's considered or not, if he will look into becoming a D-rep. And I asked the same to you today as guests. Is this something that you guys have considered doing? I don't know, Laura, if it's something that you've considered yourself as an individual. Is it something that you will want to do? You envision yourself out there being a D-rep for yourself or for others? Same with L, same with Pi. Is this something that you guys have considered?
I've definitely considered becoming a D-rep. I think that's much more my speed than the ICC or even the CC.
Awesome. Have you considered doing it as an individual or with a group?
Personally, I'll probably be an individual D-rep, and Sunday Labs, the other employees at Sunday Labs will probably be a D-rep.
Awesome. I love hearing that, Laura.
That's actually a really great question. I have considered, but I decided on not becoming a D-Rep myself because I feel like my skills would be better used supporting all D-Reps instead of, doing things by myself. We have a few D-Reps who applied to, and they are going to host workshops here in Latin America and Brazil, more specifically too. And I'm going to try and participate in as many workshops as possible as an Intersect team member to help with the process.
I love that, Laura. Yeah, I totally feel for that. I think that you're a great champion for rallying behind people and empowering people. So I totally see I can see you as a D-Rep as well, but hell, I love it. What's up, El? Tell me, what are your thoughts?
I applied to be a D rep because I think it would be absolute chaos, and I think that would be real fun, to be honest with you. But I applied through like a Hosky link like a month ago, and then I didn't get an email for like next steps. I don't think so. I don't know what I do here, but I'll be one. Why not? I mean, most of the people that are active come to my spaces, so I can just ask them what they want, and as long as it isn't bullshit, then I'll just do whatever they want because I'll be their D rep. So that'll be fun.
You know what? I am a D-Rep pioneer leader, meaning I get to host these beautiful workshops, and I've been looking for excuses to find little communities. Like I've reached out to Lily and say, "Hey, would you like to do a D-Rep workshop for girls, like for the Cardano girls, just to see who's interested and just have this kind of group and learn." I'll say the same thing to you. If you want to host one and make it like, for your community, your people, and just bring in people that might be interested in learning how to do this, I will be so into putting something like that together. We can do it virtually. It doesn't have to be in person.
You're gonna be there, right? I was gonna say you are gonna be there though because I can't do it because I don't even know how to
Of
do it myself.
course, yeah. You'll be learning and hold your hand, and we hold each other's hands and do this. But we can do it virtually, right? It doesn't have to be in person. The thing is, that, of course, you want to do in-person workshops because the in-person workshops are very, very important, but you don't want to limit this information and this training to only in person. And that has been my biggest struggle, is that I much rather focus on virtual because we went through this last year with 1694, and I I hosted two workshops, and each one of those workshops brought like over 20 people on virtually. But then you put so much effort into doing one in person, and it's beautiful, but you don't get that many people. You don't reach that many people, and you don't reach that many people across the globe as you can through virtual. It's more work, I think, for the person hosting it to do it in a way virtually, because sometimes you have to take into account like, oh, I have to break it into two, I have to do it on the weekends, and sitting on the computer and trying to get people's attention. It's a little convoluted, but I think that the more we do it, the better we can create programs that are ideal for this kind of stuff, because we have to continuously train and do workshops together. This is kind of like part of what Cardano governance is about. So we have to get better at it. And the in-persons are great, but they don't reach everyone. And we really want to be out there and making this accessible. So I want to do more virtual workshops, and I would like to focus what I'm doing on my end into smaller cohorts of different communities, because everybody has their own reason why they will want to join that might be different from other, groups, interest groups that they're out there. So I would love to do something like that out. So we should definitely talk about it. What's up, Joe?
I think one of the benefits that we haven't mentioned yet when you become a D-Rep is that you immediately fall under my protection as the founder and leader of the Cardano Secret Service. So yeah, just want to throw that out there as well.
The perks, guys. Do it for the perks. We have a hand up, and let's just try to make it quick because we're trying to wrap it up.
Oh, thank you guys. I have considered to be a D-Rep, not really because of anything, but because of the fact that I want many people voice to be represented that is being given by the Cardano ecosystem. Let me see. The designation of the D-Rep is to make sure that almost every single person, no matter how much other you are holding, you'll be able to have a voice represented in any governance actions. And that is the more reason why I have considered to be a D-Rep. Thank you very
I
much.
love to hear that. Yes, we want a bunch of D-reps. We want to spread that power to the edges, guys. So we need D-reps. We need the D-reps. So, with that being said, I want to ask one more question, which has to do with that. How do you think that we can reach a wider audience for in terms of, well, actually, no, let's just change it. For the people in the room, the new people, people that are like, we've had an influx of newer participants in the Cardano ecosystem. And we got Nike that is just kind of part of it, and a lot of community memes and good vibes has been great. For whatever reason, I am not trying to pump any coins or anything. I don't even have any. But what I'm trying to say here is that we might have people here in the room. There might be here because Elle is here. I know that happens. So for people in the room that want to know more about Cardano, and we want for them to get a little bit more in touch with the ethos of who we are as an ecosystem and what we're here to do, what would you say to them right now? Ah, don't speak at the same
Wait,
time,
are you
guys.
asking
Not at
me?
the same time.
I didn't know you was
Okay,
asking.
what
Sorry.
would you say to the listeners right now here in this room that might be like, this Cardano thing is a little bit more than just trading or doing or fighting or fussing or trying to like defend themselves or all this other stuff that at the surface, right? We have this like very beautiful thing happening with this governance, and not just the governance. I think that one of the reasons why people think that we fight so much is because we're so intertwined and we do so much and in terms of driving the ecosystem forward. And people that are here, they kind of like stick around, even when they're upset, they stick around, right? And there's reasons behind that. And I think that what we're talking about today kind of speaks to that, right? Of how much we work together in different ways, shapes, and forms. Like I have Pi here, we have Laura, we have Elle, and we all do different things. Nudes, it's the Cardano Stoners Club. We're all in our own different areas, and we're here talking about something that unites us, that we can understand, that we can feel. And how do we pass this to the new listeners? If you want to tell them right now, use this time to say, hey, get involved in Cardano. Beyond this, we have governance, we have a world that we build together. What words would you offer people that want to learn more about Cardano and they don't know what else is out there?
I mean, I would tell them, trading is fun. Buying NFTs is definitely fun, and doing whatever you want is fun. But you can be part of shaping the future of Cardano when you join this and you get involved with Intersect and participate in governance. And I mean, we saw that with ICC. So all the other stuff is great fun. But do you want to be part of shaping something that could be the future? Then that's why you join this.
You partially said what I was going to say. um, Crypto is not only degens and only people who trade coins. It's also people who are here for the technology. But I'm not going to touch on the technology. I'm going to leave that to Pi because that's his spot and not mine. um, but everyone, it's being in Cardano is a lot cooler than a lot of people realize. Cardano may be seen by people outside of our blockchain itself as boring, as nerdy. However, we are building the future here. We have real life solutions. We are building, for example, a Prism identities for real people that are already using. It's already working. There's so much more to Cardano than one can see from the surface. And I invite you in to just let us take you on a tour. Let's talk together. Let's chat. Let us present you everything that we have.
I love it, Laura. Pi, do you have any wise words? Any wise words for the lost souls out there?
Um, Nothing in particular. Just I guess I will call people to reasonableness. I know that with things, it is very easy to get riled up. It is very exciting to get riled up. We are all very passionate, and I think we all recognize and appreciate the passion in each other. Um, but I think there is a world where you can be passionate and you can have strong advocacy and call for accountability and all of these great things without it becoming conspiratorial or an attack on the intentions or motives another person or things like that. And I think we've kind of been poisoned, at least those of us in the US, probably a little bit in the UK too, by our existing political climate where those two things are so intertwined. And I think that I would just call everybody to do some deep introspection and make sure that you are not carrying over an existing defeatism from a previous system, and you are kind of giving this experiment that we're all collectively trying together a fair shake, and you don't get discouraged right away when it's a little bit of a bumpy road.
I love it. I love how you're like, not much, and then you just unload all this like super awesome wisdom on us. Thank you so much. Bye. It's
I
like
was just about to say that. He started off simple, being humble, and then he absolutely dropped the bomb on us.
because it's so true. Wow. Like you speak good words, my friend. I have to say, I think those are words that are needed, and I appreciate you so much. I have Mav 100 here with a hand up. What's up?
Oh, I was just going to throw out there what we have going on here with Cardano is a way of taking this idea that's been around for thousands of years, democracy and republics and different systems of organizing ourselves. They're very, very powerful, and this gives a little bit of a boost to that, adding accountability and security to the entire process. And especially here in the United States, security is a big issue for a lot of people. Some people are a little bit disenchanted by the process, and this allows people to come together and talk about this idea of governing ourselves in a little bit more secure way, an accountable way, so that we can just understand each other and say, okay, we don't have to discuss whether or not this was fair or not. We know it was fair. We can all point right here to this blockchain and see how everything was done and everything was accounted for. And we all agreed on this process to begin with. So, all right, we're in a fair playing field, and we can get on to the meat and potatoes of ruling ourselves with this governance process. So I think that that's what this particular thing in Cardano has really given people I don't know, uh, a new tool to help that process lose some of the frictions of that exist in the current system as far as ruling ourselves, and it gives a lot of tools for already created systems that decentralized systems that can leverage that kind of a tool. In the United States, we have a lot of those already, all the way down to the county level, municipalities, schools, all very decentralized, and they organize themselves using democratic processes. And so we're already integrating a lot of these things. Intersect has helped us out, and so we have students they're like, how do we, they all vote on things now. They organize themselves. They have resources that they have to decide what to use. And this gives an accountable way for people to go ahead and get involved in that process. And so it's a really exciting thing.
I agree 100%. This is why I founded the Cardano Secret Service Security.
There you go. You heard her here. And Mav, thank you so much for your perspective. We should definitely bring you here and talk more about that. I know you're cooking stuff with the kids, and I want to see where you're taking this. Since last time we spoke, where you're doing it with SPOs, I hear now you're taking it to voting. So it's definitely growing, definitely moving things along. So that's really, really cool to hear. And we're winding it down. So Newt, what you got for us here before we shut this down?
Yeah, a lot of great things to consider. A lot of different resources at the top if you want to check it out. There's tons of different things. And also, too, they are in the comments. And like the last space, we just try and keep like the comment section as a great reference point for people in terms of, different topics that we're sharing and links and things for you to get involved. Again, one of the most, I guess, time sensitive things that we had mentioned over the course of the day today is getting involved in the Intersect seat if you'd like to apply to be in the Intersect Constitutional Council, meaning that you will be a part of the group of people who will fulfill that role in the Constitutional Committee, right? Intersect has one seat, but that seat is going to be broken up among a group of people who want to get involved. If you're interested to apply for that, it closes on Monday, so it's pretty time sensitive, but the link for it is available at the top if you want to check that out, as well as so many other things in terms of getting involved with Intersect. ADA payments are live as a reminder, which is great. And we had some people process that transaction live right here on the space, so that's very cool to see. And so many other great resources for you to check out in terms of the knowledge base. Shout out to Laura for her involvement there, really in the trenches, trying to get people informed in a one-stop shop for all things Intersects. Really great to see. Some great resources as well with the committee reports, a bi-weekly one that's up there, SanchoNet, and also too a call to action for people to follow some of the accounts that are posted up there. Intersect has a YouTube page, for example, if you want to check out the town hall. Give a subscription to that account, and get a lot of great content for all things Intersect, some meetings and ways to participate, as well as a number of these community hubs from all around the world. Just highlighted today, we're also featured in the newsletter. Our friends from Sri Lanka, from Japan, as well as I believe the Eastern one. I'm trying to find it here, but I'm going to repin that up to the top. Those accounts as well. Here we go. I'm going to pin it up here. From the LATAM community is our third. Give those a follow because some of them are new, just getting off the ground with the community hub. So getting more followers on the timeline is always a great thing to keep people involved and engaged. So it's been such an awesome space to have everybody here with us. And I guess my last question for our guests, we have Elle, we have Laura, we have Pi. We talked about how do we get people involved, like who are new, like where do we point them to resources and stuff. My question for you three is how do we get people who are so entrenched in Cardano but don't do the governance stuff? Like how do we incentivize people or get people involved that have been around in our ecosystem? We're all friends, we hang out in spaces all the time, but then when it comes to things like voting in this ICC or whatever it might be, not everybody participates. So like what do you think that could be done, I guess, as individuals or community to improve that output or that participation? And that's just a general question for Elle, for Laura, for Pi. Curious to know what you think.
Could you repeat your question, please? I don't know what's happening with me. My internet is off, awful. I haven't
Absolutely,
heard
yeah. So
anything.
yeah, no worries. I was just saying we talked about like ways for new people to get involved, right? What about the veterans? Our friends. We've all been in the community for years. NFTs, DeFi, etc. A lot of people are here every single day, but do not get involved when it comes to the governance things, right? For voting in the elections or things like that. So how do we get the more seasoned Cardano participant involved in this era of governance?
Okay, you cut off a little bit, but I think I got the gist of it. Participating in governance is much more than just voting for people who are not aware. You can help with in many, many different ways. You can help in making proposals, you can help with analyzing documents, you can help with translating documents. Everything about governance is about reaching people and making sure that they know what's happening. For example, we have a few open grants, or we're going to have a few open grants in the future that are related to translation of everything that we are doing. And that is a way to promote inclusivity. That is a way to bring more people from different nationalities in. You can participate in working groups and special interest groups as Cardano members, as Intersect members. You being there, you helping us strategize and structure, plan, budget, everything. This is all part of governance, right? Voting is absolutely vital for the process. Of course, absolutely. But we also need manpower. Planning is vital too.
There you go. Planning is vital, my friend, indeed. Curious to know, Elle, what you think about this, because you are involved every single day. I mean, obviously, so many great friends individuals from the community. You're a great spaces host, and you always have your finger on the pulse of everything. But it's like not everybody in the space. Then not everybody retweets the room. Never mind, logs into their wall and does this thing. So, like, what do you think we can do to these maybe even jaded people who've been around for a long time but are not getting involved?
I mean, I think there's two sides to the coin. It's really hard to make people who have been here for long that already don't care to care. I find it very odd when they don't, to be honest with you. And I would say, for me, I think the main situation is kind of like proof of work on that scenario. Like when the special interest groups see a level of success, whether that's their side of scalability, whether it's the marketing kind of route, or I know we have a special interest group in regards to stable coins. So when you see a level of success, maybe people will be more interested in getting involved because they'll go, oh, okay, these guys did pretty well. Hopefully, we can put some effort in and help out and push the chain forward. Also, I think like just making fun of people. A lot of people complain all day. The complainers, not doers. I think you should. For me, like I always find it funny when Charles is in a space and he just says join Intersect. I think that should be a meme. And every time somebody complains, you should just reply join Intersect.
There you go. I think memes are a great way to do it too. And getting people involved in that way, like you said, proof of work, just demonstrating like what can happen for the success stories of getting involved.
Bro, we
I
need
think
like a
is a great way
copy
to go.
pasta. Like when fucking Melon first joined, shout out to Melon. When he first joined Intersect, he was like, "Oh, I joined Intersect, is my opinion matter now." Like we should have like a reply copy pasta, and it should be like, "Join Intersect, otherwise your opinion doesn't matter." You know what I mean? And then you just like bully people into joining. Like that usually works.
I so agree with
I love
you.
it,
I
man.
love it. We got to do it.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, El, for that perspective, and again, man, just really glad to have you. I've been part of the journey along with you over the years, man. From the watering hole, Stoners Club, all the way to the freaking, unpopular opinions, flying out on the weekends, man. And it's been just such a wild ride. So super stoked always to have like your perspective
Am I gonna
on.
see you in Vegas this year, nudes? Because it was nice to
We
see you in
might.
New York, man.
Yeah, man. My Cash App is DRP. Just send me like $2,000 and I will be there, no doubt.
Send it over. I'll just have to
There
work
you go.
hard on my OnlyFans this weekend.
Yo, hell yeah, man. Real quick, I want to get a last perspective on Pi on this issue, and then maybe we'll close it up with just some community hands. We got Avatar Nick and Mav 100 with the hands up. But Pi, my friend, what do you say to people? I mean, you've been around as well for a number of years. I met you the first time in 2021 in Wyoming, and there's a lot of like ITN people there, right? And I don't see those voices necessarily always participating in this governance adventure that we're in, right? So how do we reach those people who have been around for years but not yet taken the next step to get involved?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I have any particularly deep insight. It's a really hard social problem, and I'm much more of a tech guy. I think on the tech side, the best that we can do is just make it really easy. On the social side, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier of, we need to, those of us who are involved need to uh, create a welcoming environment by not being overly pessimistic. And that's not to say that we can't, criticize and call for different changes we want to see, but it's a really it's a lot of work on our end to keep that positive and welcoming while we call for changes or call out kind of misbehavior that we see. And then finally, I'll say I don't think everybody necessarily needs to participate in discussions in order to participate. So you mentioned a lot of the ITN voices. Many people who participated in the ITN are just tech people who get shy about workshops or talking to people or whatever. And so I think there are ways that they can and are participating, running the infrastructure or voting or things like that aren't necessarily coming up on Twitter Spaces to debate a particular issue or things like that. So I wouldn't necessarily discount that kind of participation either.
I just
So
wanted to add to that just for perspective, Pi, because you're so
yeah,
right about that. So right about that. Although I do have a little bit of concern because, you know, I'm very close to a lot of different SPOs from early days to like middle. Like the SPO community was kind of like our biggest thing back in the day. So we connected big time. And I have had conversations with so many of them, and they do play a role in governance, and a lot of them are absolutely detached from it. Like they don't understand their role in the new things that they have to participate in. How does that affect them? And a lot of them are just like, I'm just going to abstain. And I think that I would love to have a conversation about that one day in one of the spaces and trying to bring some SPOs to get some perspective, because I feel like there's like the disconnect with the DREP role and the SPO role that they play in this whole governance structure, that will be really interesting to unpack, to see how we can get SPOs to welcome this thing. I guess I don't know how to put it. Like understand a little bit. You know how people have this feeling of dread that keeps them from anything that has to do with governance, even though they actually play a role in it, right? So
Mhm.
I feel like there's something there. There's definitely something there.
Yeah. And then I guess the last thing I'll say is, making sure to reiterate that, like, this idea that um, taking everybody's input does not mean everybody's input will be reflected in the final result. And I think this is a difficult thing to kind of internalize and understand intuitively, in that, you just because we build systems that solicit and take in people's feedback and consider it and weigh it and all of that, doesn't mean that you'll be able to take any particular thing that anybody has said and point to the line in the final spec where their feedback made it in, right? And so, I think a lot of people, I have seen a lot of discourse that comes from the stance of, oh well, I said this and they didn't do it, and so my input wasn't considered. And I think we need to gently disabuse ourselves of that perspective, because we cannot build systems that just include every piece of feedback, because it will end up as the worst version of itself, not the best version of itself. And so that's kind of the last thing that I think, if we can internalize and understand that, it will make it easier for people to participate, because they won't feel as discouraged if, um, you know, if their particular idea doesn't end up making it into the final thing. It's still important that they participate, because their idea may shape and influence the other ideas that do make it in, right? So that the participation is still important, even if you aren't the one that gets to pen the final result, is the way I'll sum that up.
You make a great point with that, Pi, but it also makes me think, could we have a system where we can do show that your input was taken into consideration, even if it doesn't make it to the final thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I know that this doesn't get lost in the middle and doesn't really make it to where it needs to make it, right? Wouldn't that be something that we could solve?
I don't know. That seems like, again, a social problem, and I'm a tech guy, so.
Well, I'm thinking tech could be part of the solution, but yes, I'm just putting that out there. You don't have to have the answer. So thank you so much, Pi, for the input. Nudes, back to you. You were asking this question.
No, I think it's awesome and just some really valuable insights from all three of our guests. Big shout out and thanks to them coming in live from the comfort of their own beds on an early Saturday morning, kicking off the weekend proper in the second edition of this Intersect Progress and Community Pulse space. It has been so awesome and fun, and just nothing but love to all people. We do have a few remaining hands up from the community, our friends joining us up here, and wanted to address those as we wind things down for the day. We did hear from Mav 100 earlier, so I want to pass it over first to our friend Avatar Nick, my friend, Do you have any insights or perspectives on this ongoing conversation?
Yeah, what's good? I joined a little late, so I didn't hear the entire conversation. But I do have probably some unique insights as someone that is not as interested in governance, and someone that is swayable. But there's a couple things that need to be done for me to be swayable. So one of the things that I see is that if I'm going to participate in governance, I want to see that the organization I'm participating in is actively moving the needle. There's actively things being done that are visible, that are measurable, that things are moving in the direction to make the ecosystem more prosperous and more successful. And it's not that I haven't seen that with Intersect, but I haven't seen it at a rate that I think is on par with other ecosystems. For example, and I have a really, really lucky and good measure of this because as I've probably told a million people, a lot of my real life friends are not in Cardano. Pretty much all of them are in Solana now. So if my Solana friends come up to me like, "Hey, have you heard about this thing on Cardano?" That's a good indication that something being done on Cardano is reaching a wider audience that is not just within the Cardano bubble. I have never heard them talk to me about anything about governance. Now, some of them did mention Nike to me, which is quite interesting. So in terms of governance, I don't see anything particularly exciting happening that's actively moving the needle for the chain at the moment. But another thing with kind of this governance structure is that I'm not a huge fan of kind of an oligarchical structure where you have the core direction and decision making being decided by a series of votes. I'm much more of a fan of things like the United States model, where you have a central figure who's kind of denoting the direction or the vision of the country, or I'll use country and chain interchangeably because effectively blockchains are digital countries. And so I don't really see other than of course Charles, but I don't see a central figure that is kind of moving the needle and deciding, okay, this is the direction we want to go, and we would have checks and balances to vote on if this is something we can have input on, or we should not do this because this is actively bad, or things like that. So I definitely would like to see a little bit more movement from the organization. I think one of the criticisms I get when I talk to people that are a little bit more knowledgeable of Intersect is that it's a little bit slow, and there's like a lot of it's a lot of like bureaucratic and things like that. And I see that a lot with some of the foundations and things with Cardano, and that's kind of the thing I wanted to avoid. Because I think bureaucracy is kind of like a slow death rather than a quick growth. So if I could see things like the needle being moved in a faster direction, or there's kind of active things being done on Twitter or marketing on social media, or there's things that are moving in a direction where I can actively see progress, I'd be much more interested in joining and participating, because then I could see not maybe my vote doesn't matter, but whatever is decided is going to be acted on in a relatively quick manner. It doesn't have to be an extreme change, but I definitely want to see a little bit more movement than what's currently happening.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, I think that's a great perspective, and would say keep your finger on the pulse, as it were, to the DREPs. I think that a lot of great things are going to happen, and immediately we'll see participation and implications of what participating in this ecosystem is going to do. And again, quick shill for SponsorNet if you want to go test it out. It's coming live to this ecosystem this year, so really exciting times. We do have a limited time, but we do have some
I
hands
do
up,
want to
and I know
let
Laura.
Laura, yes,
Yeah,
Laura respond to that, because I know she wants to respond to that, and then we'll move to the other hands. Thanks, Knut. Just want to make sure we gave Laura an opportunity to respond. What's up?
Yeah, I just want to clarify a few things. I understand that people in the crypto world and the blockchain world are used to a very fast-paced environment that is very comprehensible. However, there are a few things that I want to make a consideration for, which are having someone pointing the needle, as Avatar Nick mentioned. And that is unfortunately not possible for a few reasons, because one, we need to ensure decentralization. Two, we need to ensure that power is not centralized in a single entity. And this is why we are leveraging the committees, working groups, and special interest groups at Intersect more specifically. They all have standards for consensus, they all have standards for organization and leadership. And they are all coming together to try and push this pace forward because we cannot have a central entity that is just pointing fingers at people and saying, hey, we need to do this and we need to do that. We are
Yeah, that's
leveraging the community
but that's
to
true. But
grow
I
more
just want to
events.
point
Can
out
you
that.
let her finish,
Oh, sorry.
Nick? Thanks.
No, don't worry. Let him speak, and I'll see if
Okay.
what he's
It's
saying is
just that he
good enough.
missed the
Yeah,
beginning
yeah,
where
that's
we
true.
just try
But
to let
Yeah.
people speak, but
my,
that's
my
fine.
argument is not for the centralization of power. My argument is similar to a U.S. model where you have a president that has the checks and balances, and they could decide kind of the direction, and then you vote for that person. I think that's still in a decentralized way, but it allows you to do things a little bit more quickly with the checks and balances. I don't think that necessarily centralizes power, especially if you've got a vote for that.
Well, that's part of the ICC, right? So we have two ICCs, so just so people don't get confused. We have the Interim Constitutional Committee, and then we have the Interim Constitutional Council that's going to ensure that the committee follows their own rules. The Interim Constitutional Committee, one of their jobs is to ensure that all of the precedents that were set are going to be followed and to ensure that the community's interests are in mind at all times. And that was the voting that was recently concluded. So people could vote on either organizations, individuals, and oh man, I forgot the last translations because I just have the word in Portuguese in my head. Really sorry about that. To represent them. We people could vote in three main representatives and three secondary representatives that they think represented their ideals the best. And this is where we're headed, right? You can It's quite easy to say, oh, you can have someone pointing the checks and balances and saying, hey, it's better to do this or that. But when you deal with a very broad community of people in a cryptocurrency blockchain such as Cardano, who deals with billions of tokens and billions of users every single day, I might be exaggerating on the billions of users here, so I apologize if I am. You need to have a general consensus before anything is done because there will be a lot of questioning if there is a central entity. I'm going to say entity because it could either be an individual or a group of people who are just simply pointing directions and not ensuring that the best interest of the community is at mind.
I just want to say, acknowledge that. Thank you, Lara, for that because Pi has to leave. And I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. Your input is amazing. And please, please join us when we're here and bring your awesome perspectives to the table. I feel like everybody can resonate with the things that you say. You'll be an amazing D-Rep, by the way. I think he left. There you go. Okay. I hope you heard it. If not, I'll message him anyways. Sorry about that. Thank you, Lara. And I think we can move on to Thomas. Thomas, thank you so much for having your hand up and being so patient.
Oh, that's my pleasure. I just, yeah, I wasn't able to join before now, but I just wanted to chime in about what Pi talked about and what we can do. So he said that he's a tech guy, so he can't. So his focus is not on the community thing, but I think that it goes pretty well hand in hand because to have voices heard and to make sure that ideas are being taken into consideration, we need to have the tech in place to make sure that we can show what's being done, and think things like the CC portal, and the reps should also have a way of providing their rationale and showing how they're voting. And that's where I think the community side and the tech side merges pretty well, because we need to have the tech in place to be able to show what the community wants to do.
Thank you, Thomas. And Mav, we're definitely trying to shut this down. I can't believe we've been here for 2.5 hours. You guys rock. I know that you are a pro at this. So I just want to make sure that we're all comfortable. Mav, give us your words.
Well, I was just going to touch on what Nudes was asking before about how to get more people involved, especially some of the OGs. And I think it just comes down to user interface in a lot of ways. If there is, like right now, we're having this great discussion. A lot of people who are involved in the Cardano space, they come here to X to discuss things and talk about it. If there was a way to integrate my wallet with something like this, or something popped up every time I came here, that would be a really good way for me to just be, oh, because everybody's really busy. Everybody has a lot of things to do. And so if there's just this little reminder that just, boom, hey, protect your investment, get involved with this governance process. That's one of Cardano's superpowers, is this decentralization. And the more people who get involved, the more decentralized it'll be concerning those decisions that govern its architecture. And so if we can just have these reminders that this protects this investment we've all made in this really cool network. Just get involved. Or if, a lot of the really popular wallets out there, if there was just a little integration that just said, hey, this is happening, or on tap tools. A lot of people in Cardano use tap tools. Tap tools is just, Intersect said, hey, if you guys could just have, some sort of a little memo that pops up or something like that, get people involved. I think that it would be a great way to get involved, get people moving towards, thinking about this on a more regular basis. And then there's incentives, but there's probably, that's a space all into itself. And we're trying to wrap things up, so I'll just kind of leave it there.
Thanks,
Yo,
Mav.
hell yeah, Mav. I just want to echo that sentiment and totally agree with you. If you were here for our previous inaugural space that we've been hosting up here with Jenny Intersect, CMOS had mentioned something like that, like for a wallet interface to have like a pop up, be like, hey, there's a new governance opportunity for you and you can get involved. And we've seen this previously with Pool.pm, who puts the catalyst reminder at the top. And I think that's gone a long way of letting people just know that it's out there and it exists. And there's a lot of great things that we could do to integrate this more seamlessly and ubiquitously throughout ways that people engage with the ecosystem. Putting that notification on whatever touch point people have, I think is a great way. So thank you for that perspective. But
And
Jenny,
then to that, I just wanted to say, Nudes, that I love that idea, but it just all comes down to at the end to incentives, right? So maybe we have to come up with ways to incentivize that kind of behavior. Maybe put out bounties and say, hey, if wallets, integrate this little pop-up thing, then you can, apply for this grant and get some money for the efforts of integrating something that helps this move forward kind of thing. And I think that could be part of a marketing budget, things like that. And that's why it is important to go to the special interest groups and enter this working groups in particular for marketing so you can bring these ideas forward. Right now, I think most of the efforts are being put in when it comes down to accessibility and like reaching out. I think that the workshops that we did last year, we captured a lot of data on what the community wanted for this minimal viable governance. And everybody said, no, we need a platform for DREFs. We need this. We need things to be in different languages. And I think a lot of that is what is being used for the budget, the initial, like this 1 year budget for the bootstrapping phase when it comes down to grants. So every time they open up these grants and you see a lot of it has to do with what the community asked for in this workshops last year, but the budget that's being put in for the next year, now is once we have the governance, this is when it gets interesting. And when this kind of things need to make it, like we were talking about before, making sure that those things make it to the decision part or to the proposals is in these groups, the interest groups, the working groups. So definitely bring that perspective there, Mav. So, it can be taken under consideration.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of success with incentives. It's like, how do we get kids to get in here and learn about Voltaire? How do we get them to get in here and learn about Cardano or any of the other things that we're doing? Well, you throw down some incentives. You say, okay, if you go ahead and learn this thing, you get this many tokens that can be redeemed for ownership of this network that we're building with World Mobile, right? And so that just
A
took
lot
things
of
to a
us went
different
through
level.
the whole Coinbase thing, right? Like learn this, learn that, and we give you 10 of this, $10 of that. It kind of
Exactly.
works. So yeah, so we gotta think about that when we build our budgets and we put our marketing strategy, because now it's in our hands, and we have been running this for 2.5 hours. Notes. We said we were going to try to keep it shorter, and we kept it longer. How about that? Rare. I saw that you were requesting to speak, but then you stopped your request. So I wasn't sure if you were having issues coming up, but while we're here, if you still want to speak, request to speak, we'll let you up. Let's shut this down in the meantime. What's up? I don't know how to call you. You have so many roles now. You're King of Sanchonen. You're you're Joe the Don. Now you're Secret Service. What's up?
I just want to thank this space because you helped me think of the new slogan for the Cardano Secret Service, where we won't let you get whacked.
Part of the perks of joining this governance structure and being part of it and picking up a shovel is that you get Secret Service automatically. And Big Joe right here runs that program. So thank you so much for doing that and being a co host. Noodles, my friend, sends us off. There is I do want to point out, hold on, we have a couple dates. Let me just scroll here. We have July 5th, the Constitutional Workshop announcements. Keep an eye on that so you can sign up and talk and be able to have these conversations with people about the Constitution. You can still have them on your own. We've been doing that with Big Joe right here. So, but keep an eye on that to make sure that if you have a workshop around that you can participate. And July 1st is where the closing registration for the ICC and Intersect is taking place. So you have a couple of days to register if you want to be part of the ICC and the intersect side of things, which I think is phenomenal. And I hope to see, and I will message personally some of these candidates that were running for the community seats to apply for this, because I think that it will be great to have them join us in this way. So please check that out. And anything else we have there going, Newts? Help me out.
Yeah, lots of resources pinned up at the top, as Jenny mentioned. If you want to get involved with the Intersect Constitutional Council, Monday is the closing date for it. There's also a call to be an assessor of that. You can check out. It's in the replies to that pinned tweet there, and it's also pinned at the top if you want to check it. They are in need of people to review the applicants who will be taking part of this council of individuals that will fulfill the role of the intersect seat on the interim constitutional committee, my friends. A lot of great resources pinned up at the top if people want to check those out as well. A number of DREP workshops. Best of luck to Adam Rush over there at Chicagoland today, kicking off their event. It's going to be really great. I know that it would be such an awesome time to be there in person. Definitely have a little bit of the FOMO, wishing I can get involved. But if you want to check out all the upcoming things, there's a link at the top to the knowledge base there. Shout out to Laura again, where you can check out a list of events that might be coming up. So many different things happening around the world, including Vietnam, my second home in this planet. Such a great place. Awesome Cardano community over there. Jenny's got the D-Rep workshop in Spanish coming up. Do give that a little bit of love on the timeline. Pinned up at the top, hosting it with Hosky on the 5th of July. So that'll be launching off next week. Really cool to see. And a lot of great resources for you to check out different topics that we talked about with Pi in terms of the audit of the vote. If you want to check out his breakdown of how he did an assessment of this thing, some interesting notes and insights that he had and how he approached them, that is available there and on his GitHub as well for you to check out. Don't miss the knowledge base as well as the social media accounts for things like Intersect. There's a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to and check out some of the town halls that our friends at Catalyst Swarm help to organize, as well as these other community hubs. from Sri Lanka, Japan, and the LATAM community there. Those accounts are pinned and mentioned in the comments, pinned at the top. Give them a follow. They're kind of new, but the more engagement that they get is a better opportunity for everybody to stay in touch and get involved with it. So it's been an awesome and amazing space. We definitely planned for 90 minutes. We had even things that we didn't have time to get into. But during this 2.5 hour time period, it's been such an awesome and amazing Saturday, kicking it off this weekend with the Intersect Progress and Community Pulse. My friends, big shout out to our guest Pi. Thank you so much for coming by. Laura, our friend, our community voice here at Intersect, doing so many things in the trenches, keeping Discord organized, people involved, and people informed for everything that is cooking in this kitchen. Nothing but love to you and all of your efforts. And then, of course, our friend Elle. I know that we are going to submit some governance actions on the chain to get you maybe a Lamborghini, a new car, a new bed, whatever it is. I'm going to vote for it. So looking forward to that. Thank you very much, my friend. It's been such an awesome journey over the years, and super excited for the weeks and months ahead as we keep things rocking and rolling right here on Cardano. And I would be remiss if I did not throw it down to Laura, our community friend here with the hand up. Take us. Do you have some final words, sentiments, points, or calls to actions for the community?
Hey everyone, once again. So I actually need to leave, but before I do, I want to send out a reminder to everyone. We're going to have the first community hub town hall that is going to, I mean, not the first, but the first from Sri Lanka, from the Sri Lanka Community Hub, happening in exactly 20 minutes. Nudes, I did send you the tweet talking about it, so if you could please pin it in the Jumbotron. And if anyone wants to participate, we're going to have Nick. Nick is the membership and community director at Intersect. And we're also going to have who I like to call Abs. He's one of our community managers at Intersect as well. He works directly with me. They're both going to participate in the Sri Lankan town hall. If you want to go and listen to everything that Nick and Abs have to say, please feel free and tell them I sent you.
Oh, and you also have that governance office hours that happened. Next one is on Tuesday, the 2nd. So if you have any questions on governance, you can join that too. So join Discord. That's the alpha right there. Join Discord
Exactly,
and you get
exactly.
all the stuff you need. And Laura, she's there and she's so helpful. And thank you, Laura, so much for coming. You're awesome. And we'll hope to have you here and all the Twitter spaces that we do. If you don't join them, we understand, but we'll love to have you. So there you go. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
friend.
so much for having me, and thank you all for listening to me ramble for 2.5 hours.
We love it.
No, one
And
and a half. No, 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
yes, 2.5
Almost three.
hours.
Oh, goodness.
We
Thank you
are
so much.
rolling so long. I love it because the conversation just really got interesting. So thank you so much, Lara. And Elle,
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
what's up, Elle? Give us some parting words, my friend. Thank you so much for joining
Join.
today, by the way. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for
You're
inviting me.
always
I
so,
appreciate it.
always down, always there. I really, really appreciate it.
My parting words: join Intersect, or your opinion does not matter.
Thank you, Al. That's just so words to live by. So there you go, guys. We're gonna have our next space on Thursday, 7/11, but it's going to be in Espanol. So make sure if you know anybody speaks Spanish, let them know. We're gonna try to wrap it up, make it more inclusive. We're gonna have our English version again after that one. But in the meantime, engage in conversations and find ways to turn them into action. Check out some special interest groups while you're in the Intersect. And if you don't find one that resonates with you, maybe think about starting your own Intersect special interest group. So become a member if you haven't. It's easy. We saw our friend Elle and Big Joe do it here, and they take ADA now. Participate in one of the upcoming workshops. The DRET workshops will teach you how to vote for yourself or represent others who delegate their vote power to you, or you can participate and not just or participate in the constitutional consultation workshops. that will capture your input in the creation of this document that will become our guiding source of truth for the Cardano ecosystem. So be part of history and make your mark while you're at it. Thank you guys so much for joining in today. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Newts, you've been great. You're amazing as always. Thank you so much for walking around this crazy alleys with me and learning in the process and being amazing and a rock star to our community. We'll always root for you, my friend. Thank you, Big Joe. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Mav, L, Next Trent, everybody. Have a great day.